All right. Peace, family. We are now live. I want to give a shout out to everybody waiting. Thank you for your patience. What they say, you just came off a podcast, Billy? Jeff
Jeff
Mara?
Mara.
Mara.
Yeah. Mara. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
nonstop, but I mean,
yeah, Billy be working, y'all. Billy be working.
yeah.
We waiting on Mike is gonna be here shortly. Um Hopefully Robert Grant can make it tonight. He's in Peru, right, Billy?
He's improved. He's in the Andes Mountains, and he had to catch a train down from Machu Picchu, and there was a delay because of something with the train. So he got off to a late start getting back to the hotel. So
Yeah,
he's en route now, I believe, by now, but it held him up a little bit. Normally that train is like clockwork, but there was an issue
right,
coming down
right.
the Andes. Yeah, he's about 13,000 feet above sea level right now.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, hopefully he could join us in about a half an hour.
yeah,
But yeah, Mike should be here in about 10 minutes. We're
yeah.
gonna start out with a lot of important things that have been going on with Three Eye Atlas. Billy's been on top of this thing from the very beginning. So he just wants to go through a few pictures in a video and just update us on what's going on. It's like the talk of the town, Billy. I mean,
Yeah,
even regular blogs. You could be a regular gossip blog. They're
yeah,
talking about Three Eye Atlas.
yeah.
So this is some important stuff. This is something
Mhm.
that I don't think anybody have heard of or seen in their lifetime. So we want some answers, Billy. What's going on? What have you found out, my brother?
Yeah, first of all, this is an amazing anomaly. I mean, a really amazing anomaly. And this object, the more I researched it, the more I felt like it has the potential to be artificial. I'm not making a hard claim that it is artificial. I'm not telling you that a UFO is coming to visit us. But what I am telling you that there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. And some people are trying to dismiss it completely in the astronomical community and astrophysics community, theoretical physics, quantum physics, and even some researchers. I mean, even Dr. Greer, who I respect Dr. Greer's work a lot, tends to think it might just be a rock. I've really delved deep into this. I was the first person to interview Avi Loeb. He's the head of astrophysics at Harvard University. And I was the first person to interview him before he went on this spree of interviews all over the world for this object. His data in the beginning was only giving him about maybe 20% that potential that it could be artificial. Now he's actually closer to 60% that it could be artificial. And I've been following his work, his peer-reviewed science articles, and all the data that they have been able to collect, along with NASA, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, and the Indian Space Agency. So I'm getting data from many viewpoints, as well as independent astronomers as well. So I've been taking data from everywhere and culminating it. A couple things we have to realize. The first thing is we have to realize is that this object is coming from a place in our galaxy. And where is this place? It's a place where the wow signal came from. Okay. So back in 1977, there was a signal that came from a star. This star was 1,800 light years away. And an astronomer manning a station at one of the laboratories where we were, to tell us where we get the signals and frequencies in, monitoring just for aimless sounds in the void, got this repetitive signal that demonstrated intelligence. And when he got it, he jumped out of his seat. He turned up the volume. He listened for it again. And it was evidence of an intelligent frequency, an intelligent signal coming from that part of the sky. He logged it. Well, his computer logged the location, the coordinates to this object. And he wrote "wow" directly on the actual sheet, okay, the sheet that he took off the computer. And that made it into the records, the record books, the astronomy books. They show it in universities. It's called the wow signal. So this is a monumentous moment in human history, okay? This is a big event. Now, what's crazy about this happened in 1977. And to me, why is it crazy? Well, that was the year that I moved to Miami, Florida. And for those of you who've heard my story before, that was also the same year that I saw that object fly over my backyard, not knowing exactly what it was, just knowing that from my perspective as a 7-year-old child, it did not look like an airplane to me, okay? It didn't resemble an airplane. It didn't have wings. It didn't have a tail fin. It didn't have a cockpit. It just didn't resemble an airplane. And it really amazed me. But maybe it's just a coincidence that this happened in 1977 as well. But the point that I'm making is there are things going on out there that we aren't aware of, and we can't really figure out what they are. So back to the wow signal. This object is 1,800 light years away. That means that if you're traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 1,800 years to get to Earth from there. Now, if this object, this 3i Atlas, left from that part of the space in 1977 and it made it here in 2025, well, that means it's traveled faster than the speed of light. That means in some way, if this object really did come from there, like all the science data has shown, it has the ability to do what they call a slipstream or a warp drive or a hyperdrive. In some way, this thing was able to travel faster than the speed of light, which is just incredible. Okay. And it made it here. It made it here between 1977 to 2025. So now it has taken this incredible course through our solar system. So the angle that it came in with, the angle of momentum moving at a crazy speed of about 140 miles a second, and the size being the size larger than the city of Manhattan, moving at that speed, it then on that angular momentum decided to curve and work its way through our solar system. So I have an image of the size here, Rich. If you can put up this 3i Atlas versus Oumuamua image, it's kind of greenish tint. There you go. I want you to observe this, okay? So what you're seeing here, the one on top is 3i Atlas. The one at the bottom is Oumuamua. That came through the solar system about 5-6 years ago. And again, Avi Loeb, again, the astrophysicist at Harvard, said it was also an artificial object. It came from interstellar space. It came intergalactic. It came from outside the Milky Way galaxy into the Milky Way galaxy, course corrected, came through our solar system, used the sun as a gravitational assist, and slung itself back out into deep space again at incredible speeds. And that, to me, I hypothesize that could have been a probe of some type, just coming to collect and gather data and transmit it back to whoever sent it. This other object, 3i Atlas, is so massive. My personal opinion, based on some of the observations from the data that has come back from the satellites and some of the probes out there, it's got a metallic-based body, and the type of metallic energy that they're sensing, the light waves that come off of it, that those light waves can then, spectrometry can tell you what type of metal it is. And they're saying we can only produce that type of metal in a factory, machined metal. It's also got geometric shapes on the side. It's got lights on it in some cases. And then also it has a jet shooting out the back. And then at one point it had a jet shooting out of the front as it slowed itself down. So it's changing speeds. An object that large, to me, if I was an advanced civilization, I wouldn't send an object that large out unless it was probably manned. You wouldn't need something that massive, because the more mass you have, the more energy it takes to power it. So it would be less effective energetically to send out something that large. Now, if you could fit people in this, imagine there are 1.3 million people in Manhattan, and this thing is larger than Manhattan. And even if these people in here could be giants, maybe they're 20 feet tall, you can still fit about 600,000 people in there, depending on how the compartments would be organized on the inside, only if it was artificial. We're only speculating here. I'm not making any hard claims. I think it's just miraculous. Now, there's another image there of the size comparison to the left of Oumuamua. Just want to give you an idea of the size of this object. That's Manhattan Island and Mount Everest, size comparison next to the size of 3i Atlas. So we're very happy and fortunate this thing is not going to slam into Earth. Wow. You know, this is pretty big. It's a big object. All right. So again, a probe, I wouldn't send a probe out that big if it's technology. I would put people inside of it most likely, or at least automated robots with AI. But the way that this thing was moving, it was changing course. It changed course a couple times. And when it went to the back side of the sun, it started glowing bright blue. It was such a bright blue, it started glowing brighter than the sun itself. Now, astrophysicists, mainstream scientists, mainstream chemists, you can look these articles up, medium.com, mainstream news. They're all talking about the fact that this object should have turned glowing red, not blue. And when it turned blue, in their opinion, it's some type of shielding. Not words that I'm saying, words that actual real scientists are saying, mainstream scientists. Some type of shielding, they were saying it could be. They were also looking, as it slung around the sun, would it pick up momentum? Would it pick up some speed? And then just yesterday, another article came out that it changed its speed. So we're talking about something that has the power to change colors, because at one point it was dark green, then it's now turned blue. And this thing went around the sun with no damage, very close to the corona. And then now it's, slung itself out, picked up speed, but it also lost some mass. They're estimating it lost about 13% of its mass. Why would it lose mass? Well, imagine you're in a ship that has thrusters to speed up and slow down when you get into a solar system type area, when you're moving around different planets. You don't want to be driving at hyperspeed. So some of the fuel is being spent on thrusting to slow down and thrusting also to accelerate. If you approach the sun too fast in a spaceship and you don't slow down at the right pace, you can't slingshot around the sun. You'll bounce off from that Lagrange point into deep space, and you'll spend a lot of fuel and energy trying to slow yourself down again. It's not efficient. So this thing, to me, showing intelligent design, intelligently controlled exhaust and thrust. And as it slung around the sun on that Lagrange point, it slung itself back out on the other side. It's heading back towards Jupiter. This thing, to me, is intelligently controlled. There's an image here, a video clip here, actually to the right of Oumuamua at the bottom, to show you the speed.
That thing moving, Billy.
It's moving. It's moving. And that's not even the fastest that it can move. It's slowed down to move that fast.
Yo.
Yeah. This thing is really moving. It's kicking up some crazy speed. Can you imagine if you blink 1/1000 and you're 140 miles away?
Damn.
And then you blink 60 more, and that's at the slowest speed. At the fastest speed, it's like 5x that. So again, this is a real anomaly. I muted it so that you wouldn't get any kind of a copyright on this, but with the music in the back.
Yeah,
the video itself, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But again, that's just crazy. And so this one to the, this AI image I have down here at the bottom, you can just show that real quick. There you go. This is just an AI render. As I went to ChatGPT, I fed ChatGPT all the data on this thing. I said, here's all the data. Here's the links to all the science articles. Here's what all the scientists are saying. Here's what mainstream is saying. Here's the good, the bad. Some people don't believe it. Some people do in mainstream science. I said, render me something as to what this object might look like. And this is what ChatGPT spat out.
Wow, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So this is not created by me. This is the work of ChatGPT's, imaginings, I guess, if you want to say. Yeah. It doesn't mean that this is what it is. It doesn't. We're not saying that this is what you're looking at. We're just hypothesizing, speculating. It's kind of fun to do because this is a rare opportunity. This has only been 3 of these objects in our lifetime, and actually in any recorded history lifetime. Now, probably there have been more than 3. We're just now able to finally see them. You know what I'm saying? So we're finally able to see these things now. This object is. I'm curious to know where the heck it's headed next. And people say, well, if it's coming from 1,800 light years away to come here, what was its purpose? Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to think, Rich, that the purpose of this could be to find out what's going on over here. And maybe it could have been a meet and greet. Maybe if it was artificial. So if you can imagine being in 77, picking up a subatomic frequency from Earth that gave the actual signature of an atomic explosion, which is what we were doing back then, testing all these nukes back from the 30s and the 40s and 50s, right? And 60s.
Mm-hmm.
We even then dropped on Hiroshima. And that frequency, when you drop a nuke like that, it ruptures actual space-time and it sends a subatomic vibration out through, and it permeates the entire universe.
Mm-hmm.
It sends a signal, hey, the people over there just learned how to split an atom. And so let's get a crew together and go see what the hell's going on. Let's see what level of tech they got. Let's see if they've survived their own nuclear age. And as they get closer, they turned into our solar system. They took a very scenic route, observing the planets and all the moons. They took a route by all the planets. It's a very curious route they took. And then all of a sudden, they get by us and they look out, they scan the planet. They say, okay, well, they got 30,000 nuclear weapons pointed at themselves while they're still on the planet. We've scanned the trajectory of these weapons. They don't go into deep space to defend Earth against an invader. They go back to themselves to kill themselves while they're here. They're unaliving their own children in the streets. They're skirmishing all over the place. They're financially in a matrix with fiat fake money. They don't even realize that money doesn't even exist. They're still judging each other over how their skin reflects sunlight. They're just going in on us. They're going, wait a minute, this is what's going on here. They see people rioting in the streets. They see people sick and dying from diseases that could have been cured 10,000 years ago. And they're going, wait a minute. Let's just keep on riding by, because I don't know if it's worth the meet and greet this time. We'll come back in another 1,800 years and see if they're ready. This is a hypothesis, but imagine if this was real. Imagine if this was an alien race. Imagine if this was an artificial object. Imagine if you were inside of it, piloting it, and you're coming here so excited for a potential meet and greet of a civilization that learned how to split the atom. And then when you get here, you realize that they might not make it another month or two because of what's going on. And the way that they treat their own kind is just outrageous. I mean, I wouldn't stop, especially if I scanned the database and saw they just shot a Hellfire missile from a Reaper drone last month at a UAP. I might be like, you know what? I really need this ship to work to get back to the crib. So, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and keep on going. That's just my hypothesis. But yeah, you can take that down. But I think it's an amazing anomaly. It's one for the record books. I'm curious to see where it's headed next. And how can this thing communicate? How can these things communicate with home base? Because when you travel that far away from home, that could be dangerous because you won't have a way to communicate. You won't have a way to send back a mayday. Hey, we have a situation. One of my engines is down or whatever, right? My quantum boost drive is broken. But you got to remember, this could be an advanced civilization if it's real. And an advanced civilization would use a quantum entangled communications array. They wouldn't communicate with radio frequencies like we do. We're still not even a type 0 civilization right now. So they wouldn't use a radio frequency which has to travel at the speed of light, because radio waves are light waves. That would take 1,800 years to get back to their home planet by that method. So they would probably use a quantum entangled communications array, and by that method, it would be almost instantaneous that the communication would get back to home base. So they would communicate by that method. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing thing to see, man. It really is. It's an object that's moving within the Milky Way. Oumuamua, the other one that was there, the smaller one, that was an object about the size of a few football fields. And that object came from another galaxy. It was an intergalactic visitor. Let me just say something. Okay, to get into this solar system is not easy. Okay, it's not. I'm gonna see if I can find a quick image for you. And the reason why it's not easy is because there's something called the inner Oort cloud and the outer Oort cloud. Okay, let me see if I can find an Oort cloud image. Now, these Oort clouds are made of billions of gigantic pieces of debris. Okay, billions, not millions, billions. Some of them are the size of planets, small planets, and they're bumping and grinding and moving around and shifting all the time. They're always steadily in motion, and to get through the Oort cloud, it's very difficult. You have to have a navigation system to navigate through the Oort cloud. You're not just gonna randomly come from intergalactic space and just pop through the Oort cloud. I just attached an image here.
All right.
That's the Oort cloud. Now, what is that Oort cloud made of? Okay. So you see our sun in the middle. It's like a torus energy field, if you notice. So it's almost like a torus, right? There's a couple reasons why we have this. The first reason is a lot of the debris left over from the formation of the solar system itself. That's number one. A lot of that debris is left over, and it ends up being cast out towards the outer edge of the solar system, and it kind of collects there because gravitationally it can't pass that last Lagrange point because there's just enough gravitational force from the planets and the sun keeping it hovering there. The second reason is some of these are from a result of collisions within our early solar system had collisions. In the Enuma Elish and the seven tablets of creation, you see that there is a sun that comes in, a second sun that comes in, and it has planets orbiting it. And those planets orbiting that second brown dwarf star collide with planets in our solar system in the early days, millions and millions of years ago. One of them crashes into a planet named Tiamat, which was 4 to 6 times larger than Earth, and blows it up. The remnants of Tiamat became the asteroid belt. Mars used to be a habitable moon of this Tiamat, according to the text, and it got slung into this very strange orbit around the sun. And kind of strange that astrophysicists and astronomers now agree that Mars used to orbit something before it got into this very strange orbit. When it's at perigee and apogee, it could be as far as 140 million miles or as close as 80 million miles. It could take you 3 years to get to Mars, but if you wait for the 2-year window to launch, you can rendezvous with Mars in only 3 months with the right type of rocket, a nuclear-powered rocket. So it's in this very strange orbit. And then also, the asteroid belt formed, and then the rest of the debris, because there's not enough mass in the asteroid belt to put back together to create a planet 4 times larger than Earth, but the rest of the debris was blown out towards the outer edges of the solar system to form the inner Oort cloud. So now, if you are a random, gigantic, massive boulder, like one larger than Mount Everest, make Mount Everest look like an ant, and you're just going to casually start slinging yourself towards our solar system, you got to reckon with the Oort cloud, the outer Oort cloud and the inner Oort cloud. You got to pass through both of those unscathed. Not easy to do. This requires, in my opinion, navigation. Now, can it happen naturally by odds? Absolutely. By odds, absolutely it can happen. But in my opinion, the odds are very low. In my opinion, to navigate the Oort cloud, you have to have navigation. You need to be able to make course corrections to get through there properly, unscathed, and then also to then leave unscathed. Again, these are my personal opinions.
Right.
But that's what I see what's going on with this object. I'm pretty excited about it because, hey, we're alive at the time that this thing came through. It could be just a harbinger, a sign of the times. A sign in the sky, right? Talks about in a lot of ancient texts and religious texts, a sign of the coming of the age of Aquarius. All these incredible things that it could mean, and it could just be a sign and nothing more. But it really is, to me, it's an amazing time to be alive to witness these kind of crazy things happening. There's so much happening all at once: miraculous things, amazing things, inspirational things, and horrific things. We're in this kind of a smorgasbord of events right now. Emotions are all over the place like a roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I think my whole theory on it, Billy, like, you was talking about, if it was you traveling, I think that just from analyzing all the ancient texts and analyzing life, and if I was a interstellar entity, coming to another realm, I think that, how they say, don't judge a book by its cover. I think that they have the ability to see beyond the cover of our of whatever craziness is going on planet Earth. And I think that they see that we hold that Kundalini fire. And I think that that's worth gold in terms of cosmic language. So I think that they see that the Kundalini people is kind of suffering from a spell, is under a spell in this realm. And if I went, it's like, imagine, Billy, imagine this. Imagine, think of the most amazing person in your life that you ever seen or you ever read about. It could be anybody. It could be Muhammad Ali. It could be Nikola Tesla. It could be anybody. Now imagine if they say they go on a vacation. Then imagine if you go somewhere and you see them locked up in a prison in vacation and they don't even remember who they are. And you're like, wait a minute. That's what the fuck? That's so-and-so down there. And you're like, whoa, what the F happened over there? So it's like, I think they're looking at us like, oh shit, that's the Most High disguised as a human. Like, that's so-and-so and so-and-so. Like, what the hell? So I think that any group, whether it was for to help us or to harm us, I think both groups, whether they want to help us or harm us, they recognize our true nature as the serpentine people. And I think that both groups would love to benefit from that, whether it be helping or whether it be hurting us. And I think that they just needed permission, or they needed a certain resonance from us to come to our system. And I think that with brothers like yourself, Robert Grant, and everybody else, us studying and us being more open to contact, I think that now they have an open gateway to come through. And I think it's time now, Billy. I think that, and I'm not saying that I don't want to sound like a Christian, like Jesus is coming to save us. But I just think that, we got some family relatives that, is going to pay us a visit, Billy. I really think
we need them to pay us a damn visit. we need them to pay us a damn visit. I would love for them to just come in the upper atmosphere. Just break through the top atmosphere and come down a little bit and show the massive size of this object. And then you can dip out. But I think they might be afraid to get shot. But no. I would love that. That would be one of the greatest moments, and to be able to be alive to witness it, because I really truly believe still that we will witness a real, true, quote unquote, what we would call first contact, even though I believe contact already happened. But I'm talking about on the massive global scale, bypassing governments, bypassing officials, bypassing top secret installments, direct with people involved. And one of the things I think what you're saying, this Kundalini rising, this Kundalini awakening, when a certain amount of us, I believe, get to a specific frequency, I believe that's when it could happen. It's like the 100 monkey effect, when you have those apes in those two enclosures, and one enclosure figures out how to wash off their potatoes in the river, and the other ones just pick up on the frequency and start doing it. When we get to a certain level of consciousness and it spreads, it could be the right frequency, because they could probably detect that signal as you're talking about, and then say, you know what, they're ready now. They're ready. And they're ready to depose these leaders.
And Billy, that Kundalini fired, and that's the Christ. That's the Christ consciousness.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, that's the whole Christ thing. So so we're gonna see. Let me ask you this about this, Billy, before we move on. And hopefully Mike will be here to join us soon, and hopefully Rob will join us soon after that.
I know.
They say a lot of people in the spiritual community, Billy, say that babies influence the parents what to name them, so that they could be in alignment with their mission in this realm. So you might have a certain mission in this realm. So you'd be like, hey, name me Michael. My name is Michael. Call me Michael. I have to be Michael. Then your parents is like, I'm going to name him Michael. His name is going to be Michael. Do you think that it might be the same thing with 3i Atlas, where it's able to influence the scientists on what to call it, because they came up with the name Third Eye Atlas? They influenced the scientists so that it could fulfill a mission in this realm as well. Do you think that might be the case about how they came up with this name 3i Atlas?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's there was a scientific explanation by one person as how they came up with the name, but the name is really more of almost like a subconscious, subliminal type of a name. I don't even think the scientists realize the name they gave this thing. They don't even realize the power that this name has, because they're not tuned in and tapped in like we are, and like everyone following your account is, right? I think the name itself, whether it's an artificial object or whether it's just a gigantic asteroid or comet, the name itself to me is a great name, because we're talking about the third eye. So we're talking about bringing awareness to our third eye, and it could just be a signal or a message to be, hey, Focus on your inner self. Focus on the eye, the third eye, right? And we know that Atlas was an ancient god, a Greek god, but of course that Greek god was also just renamed Atlas from the ancient Egyptian pantheon. From before the dynastic era, you had the land of Kemet, and in Kemet you had the alternative version of Atlas. Atlas is just a rename of one of the ancient Nitirus by the Greek. But it could be the power. So you put those two together because Atlas was so strong.
Who was the Egyptian version of Atlas?
I have to look up the exact name.
Okay.
It was one of the most powerful giants. It was almost like the equivalent strength of Gilgamesh, but pure blood, but a pure blood Anunnaki, or pure blood ancient being, advanced being, but a giant, a true giant. Right. And this giant had the power to hold the earth on his shoulders. And then what do you see with Atlas? In the Greek, you see Atlas is depicted as holding the earth on his shoulders. It's the same person, right? But just a different name, because the Greeks changed all the names around, but we can easily look it up. But the thing that's amazing about this is that's power, that's strength. So it could be a message without them even knowing it, saying the strength is in the third eye. You see, that could be the message, because if you really want to just decipher the name on a more metaphysical level, it's really saying there's strength in the third eye, or your strength is your third eye, or your third eye is your strength, you know, which would be true. Our spiritual antenna. Most of us forget that it's even there, you know, sometimes. And just like anything else, you have to exercise it. If you don't exercise it, it'll get weak and atrophied, right? But if the more you use it, the stronger it gets. And it could be just a reminder, a simple reminder to work on yourself, right, and focus on the third eye. And focus on your consciousness and keep practicing those rituals that make you stronger spiritually and metaphysically, because that's how you're going to become three-eye Atlas.
Do you think, in terms of, like, let's say, we mentioned the Christ energy, and, one of the things you hear in the scriptures continuously, Billy, is that you hear this term, I am the light. We keep hearing about I am the light. I am the light of the world. And we always hear about how important the light is, and the sun and the light and the light. Why do you think we hear about the light in some of the texts, and people are very aware of the light more so than the sound, when the sound created the light, Billy? We always hear people talk about they are the light of the world, but we don't hear people saying they are the sound. Why do you think we go to the light, but we're not talking about the sound as much as we're talking about the light?
Well, I don't think people realize that sound is light. So sound waves are another version of actual light.
Yeah.
So sound, if you have the right frequency, you can actually make visible photons come out of it. Right. So you can take sound and turn, and the sound will, because of the frequency it's on, it can shift into the visible light spectrum for human eyes. We can only see 1%. We see actually less than 1% of the light spectrum.
Yeah.
We can't see gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, multi-spectrum, all these different light waves, that are infrared and all that. But when a particular frequency reaches a certain height, we actually get to visibly see that photon. But the ones that are vibrating lower than the spectrum of eyesight are still light waves, and certain animals can actually still see those lights. So being the light, seeing the light, and even the sound and frequency, it's really all a different version of the same thing, believe it or not.
Indeed.
Yeah. Mike's coming on now.
He's in the back?
I don't know if he's in the back, but he just texted me, said he's pulling up. He's getting ready to get in there. Just let you know.
This is just I'm putting on what they call the tinfoil kufi hat. I think, and I'm gonna get into conspiracy theory mode, Billy. I think that there is a conspiracy in the science community to avoid using the word sound. So and this is my opinion, you'd be like, this is my opinion, Billy. When they talk about the Hermetic text, they be like Thoth Tahuti, or as the African American scholars say, Jehuti. When they say everything is vibration, I think it was supposed to be translated as everything is sound, man. I'm going with sound. I'd rather use the word sound than vibration. I feel as though when we use the word sound, Billy, we could relate to it more. And I feel as though we will have way more breakthroughs in quantum physics if instead of always using the word vibration, we use the word sound, Billy. I mean, sound with the music that we come on, Billy.
Right.
I think that it would be game over if we knew that the entire cosmos was a symphony or orchestra. That shit, that would be a game changer, Billy.
It is a symphony. Yeah, when you look into something called string theory, right, in quantum physics and theoretical physics, Michio Kaku talks about this. He talks about this theory where they believe that there are subatomic microscopic strings, and these strings are vibrating, emanating the sound of music into existence. Those frequencies coming from those vibrations, that music is helping to create the illusion of matter and the universe itself. It's called string theory, and that string is like the strings of an instrument.
Yeah, I thought I had my guitar up here. I was going to show y'all, but I want to show y'all the strings on a guitar and how it vibrates, but I don't have it up here. I want to welcome to the show, man, Mike, man, Big Mike. Welcome. What's going on, Mike?
Peace. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, it's going great, man. It's going great, Mike. Good to have you.
Please forgive me for the lateness. I had dates wrong, and I'm at home in bed, almost going to sleep already. So, yeah.
Wow.
Look, I'm here.
Thank you for coming out, man. We appreciate it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yep. Hopefully we could get Robert on here before we close it out. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Is she coming tonight?
He's trying to get on. He was on a train from Machu Picchu back down the mountain, and somehow the train was delayed. So we've been waiting for him. Yeah.
Indeed. You know, y'all have the workshop coming up. Damn, do you have the flyer, Billy? Can you put that on the screen? Do you have that?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, let me put it up here. Let me pull it up. And I know that King Simon's been dropping it in the live chat.
Shout out to King Simon. He's in the chat. They're not a workshop. There's a lecture with Billy, Mike, Rashid King, and Robert Edward Grant in LA coming up. When is it?
It's going to be this Saturday, November the 8th. It's going to be at the Carson Center on Carson Street in Carson, California, hosted by me, Billy Carson, of course, Mike Rashid King, and Robert Edward Grant. Yeah.
How did you pull that off, man, with the Carson, man?
It's a long story. I put the image down there, by the way. So basically, we're supposed to be at the Marriott, the LAX Marriott. It was booked from over a year ago, and then the fires came, and those LA fires, the Marriott postponed it because obviously people needed a place to stay because their homes were burnt down. So we said, okay, no problem. They rescheduled us to November the 8th. But then when we contacted them to get the stage and all the logistics in order, they automatically pulled a fast one on us and said they accidentally gave our room away to somebody else after we paid a deposit and had a signed contract. And so I went back and forth with them for about a week and got pretty frustrated with it. But I reached out to a friend of mine and I asked her, I said, do you know of any venues in California? She lives out there. And she said, I'll check on it for you. I didn't really think it was going to be, that quick. She literally drove an hour to find this place and check it out and video and live WhatsApp me video from the location. And then we locked it in and booked it. So we had a slight venue change, still 15 minutes away from the LAX airport. So it's still right there. And it's an amazing place. And it fits all of our needs and everyone's going to be happy. So, you just put it out there, man. And the manifestations, they just keep happening. You just throw things out there. And I could have gotten really irate, really angry. I could have then, I'm gonna sue you guys and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. I just said, look, well, it's just not gonna work out this time. I'll figure something else out. Thank you. Have a great day. And I hung up the phone with no attitude, no anxiety, no frustration. I just said, okay, just got to move on. I'll find something. And the next call that I made found the Carson Center and and it all worked out, So we'll be at the Carson Center from here on out. I'll be doing a lot of events at the Carson Center out there because they love me. As soon as I talked to them, they said, welcome home, Mr. Carson.
Oh, man. Wow. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what's up, man. So I appreciate y'all. King Simon's been dropping the link. It's going to be a very interactive workshop. Mike will be teaching his knowledge on manifesting. Robert Edward Grant will be teaching his knowledge on manifesting. they're all great manifestors within their rights and how they operate, what they do.
Yeah.
The evidence is in their and you see their life, you see how they live, you see how they move. Mike is a clear physical exemplary example of manifestation and consistency and perseverance, and he's also been able to now move that into the spiritual realm, as well as Robert Grant. I mean, the guy came from corporate America, built several multi-billion-dollar companies. I don't think people know that Robert Grant's a billionaire. His newest company just hit 80 billion just last month. So he's a big time, but he was able to then move away from the materialism and move into the spiritual realm. And he's been a great help and a phenomenal human being within that realm. And he's just been, inspiring and motivating people and seeking the spiritual route now for quite some time. Just so I feel like I'm surrounded by my brothers, really great people.
Indeed. When I thought about, yourself, Billy, Mike, and Robert, having y'all on the show, and just, you just mentioned Robert. A lot of people don't know he's a billionaire. And I thought about, all the success that combined that is going to be present at this workshop in LA, and also all the success that is combined coming on the show tonight. And I said, wow, that's amazing. And I'm just thinking about, our topic of conversation, spirituality and quantum physics and the holographic universe, and how reality actually works. And it made me think of Billy and Mike. I want to ask you, it made me think of, I remember so many times in my life I went to sleep and I've had dreams, and I've had dreams that I've come across large amounts of money. I mean, large amounts of money. And in my dream, I'm like, yes, and I'm just raking in the dough with money. And then in the dream, I wake up in a dream. And when I wake up in a dream, I'm like, oh shit, man, I'm just effing dreaming, man. And the dream isn't as pleasurable as it was before I started lucid dreaming, before I woke up. So I want to ask yourself, Billy and Mike, being that this is a dream that we're having, our soul is having in this hologram, does the knowledge of the holographic universe, does the knowledge of this being a simulation, does it take some of the joy out of the success that you two have experienced in this realm?
I mean, well, for me, no. I mean, to me, it's a great challenge. And when I talk about the fractal holographic nature of the universe itself, I'm not trying to take away from the fact that we are divine spiritual beings with great power and mission and everything else. I'm just literally only explaining the method used to create this realm. So obviously we know that we're living in a creation. Everyone can agree with that, from scientists to religious folk to indigenous people, star lore and ancient handed down histories. So the thing is, okay, I set out on a mission to figure out what is this place and how was it created, and all the science and the data and some of the other science and work from other mainstream scientists led me to believe that we're living in a creation which is a shadow of light from a higher dimension. This is a holographic matrix based on fractal holography, which is running on something called the Mandelbrot set. This Mandelbrot set was discovered by Benoit Mandelbrot. And of course, you have some other aspects in there that kind of give a fingerprint of God. The fingerprint of the creator is everywhere within this realm. When you look at Fibonacci, when you look at Pi, when you look at how fractals actually permeate the entire universe, and that you have this as above, so below, as the ancients already knew. So I don't think it takes anything away from the excitement of anything, of being able to grow. I think it's more exciting. And the reason why is because if we're living in this, this holographic simulation, and everything is running on this particular dynamic code. The code is not static, it's dynamic. Some people have convinced themselves, or they've been programmed to believe it's a static code, right, and they're operating like rats in a maze, not realizing that there's so much more that they can actually do with themselves and with their families and with their projections of the reality. And so I come to the point where I realize there are certain aspects that I've been able to master and even reprogram. And I experiment with reprogramming my own subconscious and using affirmations to alter my own DNA. And for me, that's like really exciting, because it's like I realize that I'm a co-creator in this realm, not just a rat in a maze. And for me, that's really exciting.
Okay. Mike?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on, brother. Bismillah. Listen, what you said was very interesting about this dream, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
having this dream and it's just an amazing experience, and then you wake up,
Mm-hmm.
right? But were you woke then or you sleep now? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever we're at, whatever you're experiencing is real, right? Think about things that they consider mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have someone very dear to me that had schizophrenia, right? And this was a condition in which this person really experienced these voices and these entities.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to tell them that that's not real, is not helping them. It's really pushing them further deeper into a dark space.
Mm-hmm.
We have to acknowledge that everybody's experience is real, is what it is. Brother Rich, brother Billy, I came to a realization sometime last year that there's no such thing as an objective truth
Mm.
on if you're not really in some kind of spiritual system that everyone collectively agrees to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, what's considered objective truth has to go through one's own filters, one's
Mm.
own eyes, their language, their experiences, their traumas, what they know, their level of education, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, one of the strongest things that we cannot deny is people's attachment to their feelings
Mhm.
and their associations and their biases, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll just argue forever and get nowhere, right? It's not productive telling somebody that they're wrong, right? So, whatever you experience is your experience, and however you want to deal with it is your decision. Like Billy said, we are co-creators of this, of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is, even if they don't realize it, they still are to some degree, right? Some people exist as extras, right? They're not active, they're not leading roles, but because they don't take on that responsibility in life.
Mhm.
And I see life like this. Life is just a word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Life, death, it's all part of the experience that we know that we have thus far, right? That we're conscious of. So I personally live my life predicated on the fact that I am going to do what they call die. I will experience cessation, right? So no more breath will be in me, no more my spirit will be in me, because spirit means breath, right? So when that is gone, that's that's all I know for now. But while I'm here, if this, let's say this is a dream, or that's the dream when you're dead, because sleep is like a temporary death, I'm gonna live it up. I'm gonna live 110. The fact that I know that these days are numbered gives me all of the motivation in the world to do everything that I want to do,
Mhm.
everything that I can think of, right? This world is so small but so big to us, right? So like Billy is doing these tours all over the world. That's so amazing to me, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I live my life about. Like, first of all, having deep, meaningful connections with the people I care about and the people
Mm-hmm.
around me.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, let's go to this country. Let's go over there. What y'all doing over here? Let's learn some of this language. Let's learn some of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this world is ours. Well, no. We belong to this world, to this planet. So let's honor it and just and travel and experience things, you know.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying about the money, brother. Unfortunately, here in the West, on this Western Hemisphere, the programming is money over everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love 50 Cent, but I hate that his album is called Get Rich or Die Trying, right?
Right. Right.
Get spiritually rich. I'm with that energy, right?
Facts.
Because
Mike, come
the
on, Mike.
monetary wealth means wealth. Like the etymology of wealth is Old English. The initial original word was wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what makes us well? I could tell you something that makes everybody well. Laughing,
Mhm.
having a good time with people that you love and that love you, right?
Yeah.
It's those connections. The money is cool. We need that too, but that's not everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't speak for y'all, but I haven't always had money. But my life has always been fire. I ain't gonna lie. It's always been the same level of quality. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope. That's dope. I like that.
So I think that people,
That's dope.
if people can, for real, take back your minds, right? Because people's minds are just gone to like social media, their phones, and whatever other distraction is out there. Take it back, take it back, right? And you decide what's important to you, what's fly to you, right? Stop comparing yourself to everybody else. People have anxiety and all of these things because for a couple of reasons. One, they don't have God for real. The meta God, right? The meta God, right? We can talk about that, right?
Yeah.
The God that's beyond gods, right? The one and only. Listen, words are just words. Reality is reality, right? I call God Allah because that means meta God. That means one, the one, right?
Right.
It's not a name. It's just a description. You feel me? And this in our existence is miraculous and very intelligent and very organized and structured, right? Is the foundation of it is mathematics and physics, right? Is laws, specific laws and systems that work perfectly, right? So God, the meta God, the one, he has to exist outside of space and time to create space and time, because one cannot create space and time while being part of space and time. So he is a meta God. He's beyond what all these gods that people are worshiping, right? Because the world is full of pagans. You know what I mean? Listen, brother Rich, when they were talking about the pagans back in the day, right? And the Old Testament is full of pagan semiology, a bunch of gods, right? That's symbolic. What are the pagan gods? Money, cars, social media status, right? Everything that people war, power, dominance over other people, that's gods to people, right? The things that people are so uptight about, so invested in, is their God, right? Look, brother, when I really start understanding the nature of God and my relationship just got like for real with God. And we have a term in Islam called Tawheed, right? That's like accepting the universal oneness of God, right? And to be a Muslim just means to submit to the will of God.
Right.
And Islam means submission to the will of God. So that's submission to all laws of physics. No one has any choice. We all submit. People just don't want to say it, right? And human beings do deviate from our submission. No animal, no tree, all living things submit to the will of God. That's the will of nature, right? We're the only weirdos that, we do our own thing. We are very self-destructive. But anyway, when you are connected, right, all your questions are answered.
That's
you
facts.
always have something to do, right?
That is facts.
You're never bored, right? And you're full of joy.
Yeah.
Right? You're full of joy. I ain't never had joy in my life. Wallahi. I don't have all the money you could think of. I've had every car, like no lie.
All right.
That means nothing. I'm actually embarrassed to have spent so much money on things like that when it's people in my family that don't got certain things. You feel me? Or just neighbor, or just I could drive down the street and see like, yo, because where I live at, the dichotomy of those who have and those who do not is astounding. It's astounding. I don't think it's like this anywhere else in the country where you have a mansion right here and a homeless person down the street, same block, right? It's a weird paradox, right? But it's here for a reason. But anyway, the way that my God set me up, I can't really exist in that paradigm anymore, right? I am completely disconnected from that particular matrix or system. I am in my spiritual system that works for me, right? And it gives me great joy. There's nothing that can bum me out, right? I'm gonna keep it transparent with y'all. One of my businesses, the most lucrative one, we sold a big chunk of it a couple years ago, right? Everything that the firm said they were gonna do, they didn't do. Then we're out of all the businesses that they bought, we're the only profitable one.
Wow.
Yet,
Yeah.
we suffer from their misdealings with these other businesses, right? This year they chopped my pay almost in half, right? When I got the call, I'm sitting on the phone with my brother. I'm like, let's talk about this tomorrow. Let me sleep on it. I woke up the next day. There's nothing to talk about. It's cool. Let's keep pushing forward, right? Because I am not connected to that, right? I'm extremely wealthy. I'm a wealthy person. Love, relationships, right? Brother Billy, Robert Eric Grant. The first time Mr. Grant and I got together, we sat and talked for like 4 hours. You see what I'm saying?
Awesome.
That's what I'm wealthy with.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I just happen to, money comes my way anyway. If I need it, it comes. So none of that is ever going to bother me. Ever. You can take everything I got right now. It's cool. Cool. It clears the path for even more. You feel me?
Right.
And in that process, in that time period of me taking that hit financially, within a month, a new situation presented. I'm gonna tell you about it. I'll tell you about it offline, but the way it happened is just it's like, come on.
This dude.
It's manifestation.
Right?
You're on the frequency. You got to be on the frequency.
This dude talking like a true God, like a like a true and
it's like
God.
It's like, but listen, these things. Look, I'm always in the midst of greatness. If it ain't me, it's somebody else, right? Yeah. But these doors never open to me. They don't open to me, not like this, until I'm really tapped in, because not everybody's. We're all not the same, right? I know for me, for instance, I was raised well. I was exposed to supreme wisdom of the Nation of Islam at an early age. I had the teachings early. So I had to be on point. And when I was not on point, my punishment is severe, right? So I can't just coast through life. Now, when I'm on point, the blessings are in an abundance. It's kind of overwhelming. And people around me, they don't even know, because I'm not talking about these things. Before, I would brag about these things. Oh yeah, this happened, that happened. Now it's not necessary, right? Because that doesn't increase who I am. Businesses, it's just a thing that I do over here for other people. It's service, right? I live a life of service. So yeah. That's it, That's it.
Awesome answer. Awesome answer. Let me ask y'all this. And once again, shout out to y'all. I know this is going to be absolutely amazing in LA, the Manifest Destiny 2025, November 8th. If you want to watch virtually or you want to be in person, King Simon is in the chat sharing a link. But I know this is what's beautiful about manifestation is what, like I mentioned earlier, the idea that we dream at night. And a lot of people got questions about dreams, what they mean. And a lot of people feel as though dreams, this is the last question about dreams. A lot of people feel as though dreams, they are symbols for what might happen in the future. So a lot of people will have a notebook and they might jot down their journal, their dreams about, okay, well, I dreamed this, I dreamed that. I got to watch out for this number. I got to watch out for a cat, a dog, this, that, based on what they dream. I want to ask you, in terms of dreams, do y'all think it can also be a dimension where we offload karma? And when I say karma, I mean strictly cause and effect. I'm not talking about you are a bad person or a good person. I just mean cause and effect. So my question is, and I'm gonna give an example. Can you offload your karma in dreams? And I'm gonna give an example. I remember when I was young, I got my first call when I was about 19. When I was about 19, and never forget, it was a Chrysler 300M, and I remember
that's the poor man's Bentley.
Yeah, no, that was before. That was the second version. I had the version before that. Yeah, all right. Before that one. I remember that one came out. I had the version before that, and
I had a Magnum.
Oh, dope. I remember the Dodge Magnums.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And I remember, station wagon.
Yeah, no, it was fire for a station. It was fire.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started driving, one of the things I would be worried about, I was into the knowledge and I would be worried about, because I'm driving to Atlanta, New York, I'm driving all over the place. I'm like, damn, I hope I don't get in an accident. And I remember just thinking about it a little too much. And I'm like, damn, I know the power of thoughts. I done seen What the Bleep Do You Know or whatever was out at that time. I'm like, damn, I really don't want to, I got to stop thinking about this. And I remember I had a dream one night. And I had a dream I got in an accident, and I woke up and I said to myself, woo, well, it happened in a dream, so I offloaded that shit. I'm good now. I'm good to go now. So I didn't have those negative thoughts anymore, because in my mind, the shit doesn't happen, but it happened in another dimension. So I felt like I got a fresh start. So my question to you is, do you feel as though you could offload certain negativity in a dream and then start fresh again in this dimension?
Well, that's an interesting question. And it was crazy. I just built an app called dreamdecoder.ai.
Yeah.
It's a web-based app. It's a free app. Didn't cost any money. And it allows a person to type in their dream. And then the AI goes in to decode the dream based on my perception of reality. And it gives you 3 different versions of what it means, scientifically, metaphysically, and kind of spiritually. I just think it's going to be a cool app. But so dreaming is a huge thing. And obviously, a lot of the ancient star lore and a lot of the indigenous histories have been passed down for many generations. And a lot of them say they originate from dreams. And matter of fact, the Aboriginals call this realm that we call the universe, they call it sleepy time. And the Hopi tribe on the other side of the planet call it dream time. Same exact thing. So these cultures, these indigenous people, they know what's up. And they say that we're living in a dream world, and that when we shed this mortal coil, we actually wake up to who we truly are. And I believe that the avatar body itself is inhabited by a soul, and we're tethered energetically to a spirit in a higher dimension. That's just my hypothesis. I didn't read that part anywhere. That part is my own. But when you're dreaming, from what I've been experimenting with this dream decoder, it kind of seems as if the realm of dreams is more real than here. And we have trouble because sometimes it's so abstract, we can't really piece it all together when we wake up. But there are mysteries, there are hidden messages, there are energetic connections. There are so many things there behind the veil, and also even lessons to be learned within dreams. And one of the things I've been experimenting with even more recently is guided dreams. And so actually setting the tone for the dream before I go in, pre-meditating what the initial part of the dream will be, and focusing on that part of the dream, and actually going into a meditation, envisioning that thing which I'm thinking of until I actually fade off into the actual dream state. And what I found is that by doing that, you actually get a certain level of control over the dreams themselves. And you can even send yourself a cue to look at your hands in the dream. You're still asleep. Mm-hmm. And this is something I've been experimenting with, and it's been really incredible. Controlled premeditated dreams. But I do feel that dreams are lessons and provide information and provide knowledge and wisdom if we're able to then really decode them. And so this is something new that I just kind of got into. Weird you asked this question. And that's why I made the app dreamdecoder.ai, so that I can start working and cataloging my own dreams. It saves my dreams. It's almost like a digital journal. And I can go back and I can then piece together the information from the breakdown of each one of the dreams and figure out, is it telling me something? Is this karmic resolution? What is this? Right. Is this information coming from the multiverse? Because we know that there are multiple versions of us that exist throughout the known multiverse. And when I'm dreaming, am I tapping into another quantum entangled consciousness of my own self in another earth, in another universe? So many questions here that we don't have answers for, but that's why I built this app. And I'm hoping that the app can give me at least some type of a track record where I can begin to catalog what might be happening.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Brother Rich, I see my understanding of dreams. Mm-hmm. is twofold. One is it can be a prognosis of or a forecast of opposites, right? Or a forecast of things to come. I guess you decide, right? And on a very practical level, from what I think, because typically me personally, my dreams, they always have something to do with something I thought about, right?
Right.
So it just seems like it's, the mind is, dealing with all of the thoughts of the day, filing things, discarding what's not needed, so on and so forth. Now, I've had times where, wallahi, this is wild. I would dream, I would wake up, use the restroom, whatever, go back to sleep and continue that dream. Fascinating, right? I also have times where I don't remember any dreams, right?
Right.
Usually when I'm just super duper busy, plugged in, doing so many things. And I think that, we are in a state of information overload. Our brains are not nonstop on, right? Excuse me. So, it's kind of good that we have access to so much technology and information, but I don't think our brains is ready for that. We just not there yet. You know what I mean? So I think we got our phones hold gigabytes of information is wild, right? So the amount of information that we're storing every day, so I think it kind of like makes it difficult to remember and make sense of our dreams. Also, what people eat, people start like everything works as a system, a complete system. The body and the mind is all connected. And when one is real clear, real empty, not eating a lot, moving the body properly, systems working fine, you'll find that your dreams are pretty vivid. It kind of makes sense, even if it don't make sense. Like if it don't make sense, you know why you thought these weird things right here, right?
Right.
Oh, that's because of that. Oh, and then I did see so and so and was going to call so and so, But I don't really have me personally. Is wild. The only deep dream that I've ever had, I dreamt that when I was about 10 years old, 10 or 11, my mother passed away in the dream, in her bedroom, right? And in the dream, she woke up the day after to pay some bills because it was just me and my little brother. He was just born. And she went, after she paid the bills, she laid back down on the bed and went to sleep, aka death. This is what's crazy. That stayed on me. That's the only dream that I just remember vividly. I was 10.
Yeah.
My mother died that exact same way in her bed.
Wow.
A year and a half ago, right? And listen, when I get there, I'm in her place, just feeling it. Just I don't know what to do. Just I'm in there, And the smell of death was in there because my mother, no one knew she died for like a couple days. And this is in Florida and it's hot. It was in July of last year.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, it was an accelerated decomposition process. I didn't care. I want to be in it. This is my mother. It's what's left of her essence, her physical essence, right? So my aunt, she was like, baby, don't you think that's weird right there? And I'm like, yeah. I know my mother. My mother taught me, she real street smart. She taught me how to hide money, all kind of stuff. So where she had the dresser, it was like a sign, like, come look right here. So she had it pressed against the closet. So I was like, so I moved it and I reached in. There was a letter there for me.
Woo!
It was her taking care of things. Look, in full transparency, my mother, she's the one I was talking about that had schizophrenia. It was really bad.
Oh,
and she decided to leave this earth because she was tired of dealing with what she was dealing with. And I respect it because she had no dependents at this time. Myself and my brother are adults. And I took care of my mother. But my mother took out a policy so I didn't have to pay for her services or anything like that. And she absolutely didn't have to do that. But that happened in that dream 30 years ago when she took care of bills and then went back to sleep.
Right. Damn. Damn,
in
Mike.
the bed, in the bed.
Wow.
And I'd never told her I had that dream. Like I can't tell my mom, like, yo, I had a dream you died. Nobody
Yeah.
does that.
No.
Yeah.
So that was the only dream that ever meant anything to me.
Yeah.
It was a prophecy. It was a forecast of something to come.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's
But
true.
it's not a sad thing for me. I think it was a boss move on my mother. I know that sounds crazy, but look, listen, she's dealing with things that she don't want to deal with no more. And she said, I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm out of here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. Finish. Yeah.
No, that's it. I used to be very judgmental on suicide, right?
Yeah.
And I know this is a controversial take, but what do we know what somebody else is going through?
Right.
No, stay alive. What if them being alive is torment? Some people it is. My mother, that was the case. Because I was present. I've experienced her having an episode or two, right? I grew up with it, but I didn't, when I was a kid, it was like normal because it's my mom. It's all I knew, right?
Yeah.
But it progressively got worse as she got older, like that. And listen, there's people who the voices will tell you to go kill people. You know what I'm saying? Like for real.
Yeah.
I watched a story about a 12-year-old girl killed her mother. And this girl was the sweetest girl. She shot her stepfather. He didn't want to testify. He's like, this is not her. It wasn't her, right? That condition is not what we can't experience. We don't know what it feels like. So we can't judge. But anyway, I don't judge. I judge if you got kids and people depend on you, then yeah, suck it up. But that mental illness is different. Schizophrenia is different. That's the worst thing that can happen to a person. When you have a voice that you cannot look, the girl's diary, when they read her diary, she was like, I don't know why everyone act like they don't hear you, why they ignore you. She didn't say I'm hearing voices. She's like, they're acting like they just ignore you.
What's interesting is whenever I prepare for a show, there's one thing I know. If I do a show that's in alignment with what I'm generally interested in, the questions that I ask, that sometimes questions come off the top of my head. Sometimes I got questions written down. I know for a fact that the questions I have written down, the guest will say something to trigger me and let me know which question to ask. So during this show, I came up with a question and I want to ask about schizophrenia. And I said, I don't know if I want to talk about schizophrenia. I said, I don't know. That's a touchy subject. I don't know if I want to bring that up. But I said, Rich, you got to follow the flow. So I wrote the question about schizophrenia. And here comes Mike. Like I said, the ethers react to you. So I wrote this question down. They made sure Mike brought that up. It happens every single episode. So a person, sometimes people think, my God, Rich, you are a genius. How did you come up with that question after he asked that question? Like, listen, I'm getting high level assistance from the universe, high level where I already got the question sometime, but it looks like I just came up with the question because I'm so in tune. I'm in tune with synchronicity that I'm just in alignment with what it's some shit that I can't explain that well in English language, but it's an amazing thing. But Mike, what you saying that I had wrote a question down, Mike. And I want to ask you, Billy and Robert, about people with schizophrenia. Let me just I was because I've been engulfed in analog synthesizers. Like I'm a musician, and I invested a lot of money in analog synthesizers last year, and I've been learning about sound design, and it's been very therapeutic. It's been like it's damn near orgasmic to play an analog synthesizer and know what you're doing. Like that sound that comes from these things are absolutely complete ecstasy. But the technology of the analog synthesizers, a lot of them are based off something called subtractive synthesis. And subtractive synthesis is something in which a sound is created by taking a waveform that is rich in harmonics, And we know harmonics, the universal harmonic, it's rich in harmonics, and it uses a filter to subtract harmonics to create a whole new sound.
Mhm.
So it made me think about the way our bodies is structured, in which we have a reticular activating system in our brainstem, and that subtracts harmonics. Like Billy said, we see less than 1% of the light spectrum. So the reticular activated system subtracts information for us so we can have this small band of focus and we can experience what we call reality. But it made me think about people with ADHD. It made me think about people with schizophrenia. It made me think about people who Dr. B suffered from dyslexia, where he was like, this shit just didn't make sense to him. And these people usually have access to additional information that we don't have access to. So because we don't have access to it, we think they're crazy. We're filtering out like that synthesizer I'm playing, but they're not filtering out. So we're just like that crazy, but they just have more access than we have to the light, to the light information. So I mean, we're diagnosing these people, we're pumping them up with drugs. My question to you is, what do you think should be done about these people that you got ADHD, you got dyslexia, you got schizophrenia, you got such and such, there's all types of terms. What do you think should be done about these people? Because when you talk to some of them, sometimes they sound crazy and sometimes they say the most profound shit. So what do you think should be done with people who have access and they just can't filter out information the same way we do?
Well, man, that's a big question. I mean, if you look at a schizophrenic brain and you look at a brain that's normal and healthy, you'll see an area inside the brain that lights up pretty red on two sides behind the neocortex. And on a normal brain, you see that it's a little red, but a lot more faded, not as bright. So there's some kind of overactivity happening in that part of the brain that's allowing them to hear noises and sounds and voices in their head and everything else. It could be allowing them to tap into even higher dimensions. Maybe they are filtering through multiple dimensions of frequencies, vibrations, even the voices might not even be in the third dimension. I mean, we just don't know what they're really tapping into, because, once a person's, for example, if a person is autistic, and sometimes they're autistic savants, they're tapping into so much information that, we've seen them be the greatest artists, the greatest mathematicians, the greatest memory. And so a person that's schizophrenic might be a different version of an autistic person that's tapping into higher dimensions and paranormal activity and everything else, multidimensional information. And they just can't, so much coming in at once. It's overwhelming. If we could see more than 1% of the light spectrum, everybody on this live right now, we can flip a switch and we can turn your eyes to 50% of the light spectrum, you would all, and I would all go crazy right now where we're sitting or standing. We would freak out. Wow. And imagine having that happen to you every single day, all day, and you can't escape it. We'd probably, some of us would unalive ourselves. So it's a thing that needs to be researched deeper. People who have been diagnosed with it should get a SPECT scan. A SPECT scan puts a radioactive fluid in the body that goes around into the brain and allows a great imaging to be done. Dr. Daniel Amen of Amen Clinics, he gave me a SPECT scan. And then we can really isolate, analyze where the areas of the brain that need to be reformed to reduce some of this extra activity. And then someone needs to come up with some type of a technique or technology that can help reduce that to bring them back to normal. If not, unfortunately, we're going to run into the same situation where some people it's just a tough thing to live with. I mean, it's torture 24/7. And I'm only talking from experience because my youngest brother, who's now, he ain't young anymore, he's a grown man, but he suffers from schizophrenia. That's how come I researched this topic. He actually was Baker acted at one point and was in an insane asylum for a little while. He's out now and he's doing a little better, but he has these schizophrenic, situations. And so I can only imagine the torture of living in that alternate reality and still having the responsibility of being in this third dimension. It could be torturous. And so someone needs to develop something that can tap in and reduce the amount of overactivity in that part of the brain, kind of bring them back to reality. or we'll have more situations of, you know, people just trying to escape this this torture.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, it's you know, I haven't. It's interesting. I study everything, and I haven't studied it yet, just a little bit. But I have studied it in person, living with my mother, and thinking about what she was dealing with and how she was dealing with it. And it is so. What Billy was saying, if we could see 10% of the light spectrum, it would be overwhelming, right? So our brain, some people's brain is stronger in other areas and weaker in other areas and so on and so forth, right? So with schizophrenia, they have such a strong imagination that it competes with reality. There's no distinction between that and reality, right? We are so young in study, the professionals, that we don't have the means yet to figure out how to use that extra strong imagination power for something productive and constructive, right? Because it has to be able to be utilized properly. I was diagnosed with a condition. It's interesting because this is a condition that doesn't, they stopped diagnosing this. It's called Asperger's. And now they just put me in the autistic spectrum disorder category. But it's like, it's so broad, everybody's, but anyway, and I've had dyslexia. There's a lot of things that people don't know. Tourette's, all of that, right?
Wow.
It is interesting. The dyslexia, I fight it. I'll catch it, but before other people do. The Tourette's is strong. It's strong, but I just don't do it. I want to do it right now because I'm talking about it, right? And the reason I don't do it is because I was watching a boxing tape of mine from when I was younger. When I was younger, I was a teenager, and the camera was right in my face, and I was having a tic. I was articulating a tic, and it just looked so stupid. I was embarrassed. Never did it again. Never did it again, right? So there's got to be a reason for that to be happening. Now, I'll tell you this. My mother was big on education, study, and so on and so forth. So I was valedictorian. I was like a really good student. So that carried on through my entire life. So I study a lot and write a lot, read a lot. My brain is always active. So I do see areas where I can utilize things that are different, because there's nothing really broken, right? People are just different. Their brains work different. I see how I can use mine to benefit me, and me fighting certain things that I am inclined to do. It makes my brain strong. And I think that I have a very sound, strong mind. Case in point, I've done psychedelics before, right? One time in particular, me and one of the bros, we did some shrooms. And I'm a big man, so I'm like, I can do all of that.
Oh man,
I did all of it.
How many grams?
Very,
How many grams?
it was very uncomfortable, right?
How many grams, Mike?
It was 2 candy bars, 2 whole candy bars, right?
Okay.
So my operating system was just glitching. So I'm sitting in the car like, do I just let them know I can't handle this, right? Which was embarrassing. It was a blow to my ego, right? But I really sat there thinking, can you figure this out? Can you work this? I said, I think I can. So we was going to a day party. So I maintain, I'm driving, perfect speed, just doing everything by the book, super quiet. I didn't like it on me. So look, I'm concentrating and I'm just being chill the whole time. And maybe 2 hours later, I got it off of me. And I was like, yo, I was able to talk, relax, and tell them like, yo, I was gone, right? But anyway, I've never been so gone. There's been times, I'm not gonna lie, that I went hard on substances. Still normal, right? And I just think that my brain I'm always training it to be normal, right? So I just developed a lot of mental strength, and I apply that to other things, to business, to patience, to training, to studying, all of that.
Yeah.
Because all of these things are fairly difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, Mike, I definitely your story, brother. I can't even. I stay away from the shrooms, man. I can't even handle edibles, brother.
I don't do none of it no more, but I'm
I
just
ate a
saying, yeah.
little bit of a brownie one time or a cookie with something,
Yeah.
and I was out for like 12 hours, bro. And,
That's stronger than Stroom. That's worse.
oh, that's
It's
right.
not. It's
Okay,
not.
that's
Yeah,
right. Okay,
yeah.
that's why. Yeah, I'm just in a room. I remember I came in the room and I told my girl, I'm like, yo, I can't handle it no more. And I just laid out on the bed and just all types of like I was out. I couldn't get
Wow.
up.
Wow.
So yeah, that's not for me. Shrooms, edibles. I'd rather just mess with some wine, whatever. But wow, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes,
something.
sir. It's interesting because I actually did a lot of research on psychedelics
Mm,
around 2020. I never did drugs in my life until then,
mm,
and just that, like shrooms, and I tried LSD and MDMA.
mm,
And it's interesting because what the purpose of these substances, first of all, they're all natural, right? Even acid, the word acid, people are like, it's acid, it's man-made. It's lysergic acid, and we have acid in our body, right? It's from a plant, it's from ergot. It grows on wheat, right? And its purpose is to kill insects, but it has a different mechanism in us. It binds to our 2A serotonin receptors. It makes us happy, but it makes us like, it's like incredible what it does. So the intent for behind the research and the manufacturing of LSD and psilocybin was this: people who had severe depression, anxiety, so on and so forth, that were non-responsive to traditional medicine, they would do 2 days of therapy with, say, LSD. They did more research on LSD, say LSD, and it was wildly effective. And the 2 days was with a therapist, and they would do what's called like a heroic dose, like a lot, and they would walk them through it and deal with them. And these people would not have symptoms, depression, all that stuff, for 6 months.
Wow.
You know what that is, though? That's bad for business for Big Pharma.
True.
Big Pharma needs you to run out every month, right? Keep charging your insurance, right? LSD is not conducive to that because it's so effective. So what they did, they tried to use it as a weapon, right? So that's when during the time of Vietnam War, all of this espionage, spy stuff. So they were using it to try to get the truth out of people. That's another thing. It makes you hyper honest, right? So they was trying to use it to try to. That's the problem. Any beautiful technology that is discovered, these governments try to weaponize it, make it a weapon.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and anything could be a weapon. You know, think about food is the number one killer in America. Food,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So anything could be a weapon. So they couldn't really use it for mind control effectively. It was making a lot of American citizens skeptical about these wars that we were going in. You know, America is a super blindly patriotic place, right? Nixon didn't want no parts of that. He didn't want people were like protesting, all that, like, nah, shut this down. So they made it illegal. The government are scumbag liars. They said that it was a Schedule I drug with no therapeutic or medicinal benefits, when that was the whole purpose of it. Another thing that it did, it helped people that were addicted with illicit drugs, cocaine, heroin, alcohol, so on and so forth. So all of these things. So that research all stopped back in the 60s because of these devils, these politicians, right? Wanting to keep people, violent and, war this and war that, whatever. So they've lifted those restrictions since then, like recently, and a lot of places the research has begun again. Now, as with anything, everything gets abused,
Yeah.
everything gets abused. Just like opiates and pain meds have a bad rap, right? I don't see it as bad at all. Because here's another thing too. When I was going through my research, I got cool with like a couple professionals in the spaces, like scientists. Like one guy in particular, his name is Hamilton Morris. I don't know if y'all heard of him, but he had a show on Vice called Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. He digs into the science of, his field of study is the pharmacology of drugs, right? So we talked, and he was like, Mike, there's never been a drug epidemic anywhere. I'm like, what do you mean? I said, crack. I grew up in that. He says, no. He said these allegedly epidemics were only in specific areas, right? They happen to be in places where people were economically and socially just downtrodden, and a drug would be the best thing to them. So he said, the most common is the Bible Belt with the opium epidemic in one area of America. He said that place used to have a lot of jobs, factory jobs and automobile jobs, but they got taken out the country. So those people over there have nothing. So it kind of makes sense. So a drug will probably be the best thing to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, I've had psychedelics that was amazing, and nothing about it made me want to keep doing it. Like, oh, that was a cool experience. You see what I'm saying? And the same with crack cocaine, right? Listen, crack doesn't kill people. Like matter of fact, I always say I got an uncle that's 70 something. He's a crackhead. Always been a crackhead.
Crack
healthy.
Very long. Crackheads live very, very
healthy because they don't eat that much, right? They're fasting all the time. But here's the thing though. Everything around it can be dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but anyway, this was targeted. We were targeted with that. People who were poor, who had nothing else better to do with themselves but to do drugs. Yeah, that's going to be the best thing to them. There's no, so he gave me some statistics of like 98% of people who done an opiate were never addicted. It's a fallacy. It's a lie, right? Of course, there's going to be some people that get hooked on things, right? Some people are just, they got them addictive personalities. Their lives are down and out, whatever. But that's a small percentage of the population. I'm saying out to say this. Technology, medicine, all of these things can be good. Nothing is inherently good or bad, right? I like to think the core of human nature is good, right? But we have bad actors, we have bad players, right? And then when money's involved and things like that, that's their loyalty is to money. So whatever they got to do to get to the money, that's what they're going to do. So if they're going to make something addictive or create environments for people to be addicted, they're going to do it. You know, there's a couple terrible people in this world, you know?
Indeed.
So we got to counterbalance it the best that we can, though.
Yeah,
Indeed.
sure.
You know, with so much talk about family during this conversation, you know, Billy bringing up his brother and Mike bringing up his mother, a lot of us, not only on this live but in the chat room, are what you will call the black sheep of the family. Not even necessarily the black sheep of the family, but or the person who's breaking generational curses. The person who stands out there from their family, the person who everybody is like, why the fuck he's so different? Why isn't he worshiping and praising Jesus? Or why doesn't he have a job like the rest of us? Or why isn't she doing this or eating a certain, why does she stop eating pork? Why does she stop eating beef? Why does she have all this green shit on her plate? What the hell is wrong with them? And when you're that member of the family, it's almost like, how did I get in this family? I wasn't like nobody before me. I'm not like nobody that's alive right now. What I want to ask y'all is, you know, both of y'all are into metaphysics, and we're learning that time is cyclical and it's not linear. I want to ask you is, do you think there's a chance that perhaps the people we call the black sheep of the family, the people who are breaking these generational curses, do you think they may perhaps come from a future timeline, and instead of coming from a past timeline, and that's why they're not like nobody from the past, because they come from a future timeline in order to break the generational curse from the past timeline?
It's possible. I mean, if you look at, well, when you first understand that time is just an illusion, you know, that time doesn't exist, clocks exist. And so understanding that and understanding that energy at the subatomic level in the quantum field moves backwards and forwards in times consistently. And so the same quantum field that we're inhabiting, that we are right now, particularly on this particular timeline, on this podcast, we're here, but we know that there's a future outcome and there's a past outcome happening simultaneously. And scientists did some experiments with photons, and I could talk about this a little bit more now because some of the science actually got released, where they were able to send photons light waves into a quantum field and get the reflection back. And what they learned was that when the reflection of the photon came back, it came back in time with information. But then there's more to this as well. They realized that any action you take on a decision you make now, today, goes back and affects the past, because the time loop, or this infinity loop, is wrapped around and interconnected. So this is a more recent discovery that just came out, that's been now finally made public, which has been around actually for quite some time, is that the actions we take today are actually affecting and changing past events. And this could be the reason for that observer effect that everyone's talking about, the Mandela effect. And so the Mandela effect might be real simply because of this new, well, it's not new, it's a released scientific discovery. It's finally beginning to come out. So everything that we do here on Earth also has a direct effect on everything going on within the known universe. There's an energetic quantum field butterfly effect. So whatever we do here is affecting somebody or some entity or something on a planet 20 million light years away. Distance is an illusion. It doesn't even matter how far away it is. But I do believe that black sheep of the family are a reconstituted form of energy. And we know that energy moves backwards and forward in time. That comes to maybe draw a line in the sand and say, this is it. This generational curse stops here with me. It could be also that a person comes to the awareness of the power that's within them because they do some self-improvement work, and they realize that they have more control over reality than they thought, that they can make decisions that have different outcomes. So when a person comes to that epiphany moment, like I came to that epiphany moment,
right,
I realized that I can fracture time. So I realized that time is a line that can actually be fractured. And so if I'm moving along this timeline and I make a conscious decision, any conscious decision, because of the Kemetic laws, I can actually then make a decision of cause and effect. So when I make that decision of cause and effect and I act on it, the timeline fractures. And when it fractures, I'm headed down a different timeline. The one that I left, though, the timeline that I left is still moving in the direction it was in, with an alternative version of myself there doing that thing. I'll give you an example. Right now, I'm sitting here on this podcast with you and Brother Mike, right?
Mm-hmm.
I made a conscious decision when you asked me to be on this podcast that I would join this podcast. And when I made that conscious decision, time fractured instantly without me even realizing it. And I entered down a whole new timeline. The other version of me that maybe said I can't do it, I have something else to do, is still moving on a different path. So what I'm discovering now is time is so incredible, and this realm is so incredible, that there are unlimited timelines within this one universe. Forget the multiverse. And every moment that we act on a decision, every single one of us is fracturing time and heading down an alternative timeline. We are creating new timelines on a moment by moment basis, and we aren't even aware of it. And so a person that reconstitutes energetically as Billy, as Mike, as Brother Rich, we somehow bring some of that knowledge with us from different timelines, and we realize something just isn't quite right here. We come to an epiphany,
right,
and we realize the power within ourselves to take a stand, to be strong, to be bold, and to go against a grain and draw a line in the sand and say, no, from this point forward, we're going to change this. We're going to teach this. We're going to acknowledge this. We're going to stand in this kind of power. And I think that could be what's happening.
Very, very, very great answer. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, Mike.
I can't lie, I was taking notes, right?
Billy went in.
I have to be, brother Billy really intrigues me with his wisdom. I remember first time when you came out here and we sat in here, I'm like, Brother Billy, you're beating me up with this information, man. Like,
I remember you said that.
I love it. So I was really taking that in. Radio Rich, the question, I don't really know. I never really thought about those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm fully immersed in the here and now. You know, that's not something I've ever studied or looked into, the different timelines. Now, look, I have a degree of understanding of this parallel universe, parallel existence, and this potential similarity. I'm sorry, and why is my mind is escaping me right now? My thoughts. Simulation, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's a simulation. Me personally, right? I think things are kind of real because we observe and perceive it to be real, right? I know that words are just words, right? So if we say, some people say the universe, some people say God, right? Some people say time, right? Others can just come up with coordinates and locations, right? So everything is just words. And to be honest, one thing that I've understood or come into understanding of is this: language, I think, is a inferior form of communication.
Come on, Mike.
For the very reason that there's people who speak different languages, right? Are we not both humans, right? But I tell you what is very universal: energetic communication, right? We can energetically communicate with each other. We do it all the time. Case in point, somebody telling you how much they love you, they got your back, so on and so forth. But every time you're around this person and you leave, you don't feel good. You gotta listen to that energy, right? Now, the other types of energetic communication, us communicating with animals and things, that's something that we got to get better with. But we got to get better with ourselves, as, like, first and foremost too. Because here's the thing: it's crazy. People will believe words, but not energy.
Right.
We should not. Look, the fact that there's actors, it's like, how can we believe words? There's people whose profession is to lie, to act like somebody else, right? You have people that get in trouble, they lie to get out of it. People that want them in trouble, they lie to get them in extra trouble. Words is if we look at history, words are just not efficient anymore. You know what I'm saying? We should never take that as gospel unless there's an asterisk to that. Remember I said earlier, there's no such thing as objective truth.
Right.
There is, though, right? There is a universal truth that we cannot escape, right? The truth that was articulated by Allah, by the Most High, right? Water can make you drown. We need water to sustain ourselves, right? The earth spins this fast and it rotates this fast. All of these things are solid, right? But when you're dealing with interpersonal communications and dealings and relationships, the truth gets blurry, right? This is so because one person's perception, remember, like I said earlier, but the most powerful or dominant shaper of truth is people's biases. You feel me? What people want to be true, right? How people want to be right about things, right? But there's a solution to that. The solution is people adhering to a particular truth that they didn't come up with, right? I'm gonna give you one. For me, it's Islam. That's God's law. It's not my law, right? That's not Brother Billy law. It's not Brother Richard's law. That's God's law. So when one accepts Islam, right, or any spiritual system for that matter, and they are sincere in their heart, then they adhere to a truth, and everyone else that adheres to that same truth, we now have an objective truth, and we're safe amongst each other. You feel me? Right means that way, left means that way, up means that way, and so on and so forth, right? Because when it comes to like really accepting God for real, it's not words, because people can say anything. And that's what I love about this particular spiritual system. It's actions. It ain't words, it's actions. You feel me? When you give your shahada and you commit to, making salat 5 times a day, actions. It's not just saying something, right?
Right.
When you are prescribed to donate a part of your wealth or your earnings. That's actions. When you are prescribed to fast in the holy month of Ramadan, that's actions, right? When you are to treat everybody fairly, even your enemy, that is actions. You feel me? And the fact that you are banned from being compulsive about religion, you're not going to argue with people about it and push it on people. Actions. You feel me? So many actions. They'll look at it like it's so many rules. It's beautiful because these rules there's trade-offs. It gives us something very, very we immediately get benefits from it and we get blessings from it, right? And I have to say this too. I have to say this. Like I was talking to my community, and sometimes people ask me a lot of questions about Islam. And one brother, and I know this is the sentiment of a lot of Afro-Asiatic people. The brother was like, yo, I never felt like Christianity was right. And I'll say this, there's nothing wrong with Christianity, especially our beloved Prophet Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, peace be upon him. He's the best of us, right? But the system that they claim is him is not him, right? So this brother was like, it's never felt good to me. I'm like, no, it didn't feel good because the people who enslaved you forced you to take this, to claim this, right? But he's like, I feel lost and it hurt my heart, right? I'm like, damn, I understand. I get it, right? And he said, yeah, but you and this Islam, that's the Arabs. I'm like, brother, what is an Arab? What is an Arab? You know, Middle East. I'm like, brother, what is the Middle East? A term that white people came up with? That's what that means. It's a word, Middle East.
Colonial term.
We are Afro-Asiatic people, not just people that look like us, but people that look like what you call an Arab, right? So these Semitic lands and languages and religions were in a particular area of the world, right? West Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, the Horn of Africa, right? And East Africa, right? My family's from Mali, right? We're Semitic people. Y'all are Semitic people, Afro-Asiatics, right? This is our religion too. But this religion don't belong to nobody, this system. It existed before humans was on this planet. When a tree sprouted out the earth, that was a submission to God. That was the submission of how things are supposed to flow. You understand? So this is not an Arab. I mean, there's more Asians than anybody that are Muslim. So it's not an Arab thing or whatever, brother. Your ancestors were Muslim when when we were brought over here, but they had to beat it out of you and separate you from your people, because a person that submits to the will of God and knows Allah can never be a slave. But they had to get us right here, separate us. Look, we were all black, but that don't mean we're all the same. Most of us didn't. They put us with other black people that could not speak the same languages, right? So you know, so we were systematically, very brilliantly, and evil, demonically brainwashed. They did a hell of a number on us to where that brother felt lost. He felt like there's nothing for me. Brother, English is not your natural language, right?
No.
It's closer to what the language of the Quran is. And the language of the Quran is not regular Arabic. It is a very spiritual. Look, it's not the same. I'm telling you right now. That's why when you hear the recitation, it sounds like a song, but it's not. The nuance in the language. Look, I'm learning Quran. I'm taking classes every day, and it's not the same. And you see the African influence. It's such a universal language, and it's very mathematical and symmetrical. Brother Billy, when you look into this, you're going to be like, what? The way that it's structured is just unreal. But anyway, I'm saying all that to say this. I love this title, the Metagod Protocol. Right? I love the discussion, brother Rich. All right, I have to share this. Uncanny.
Okay.
So you wanted to talk about schizophrenia today, right? Why?
Just popped up in my mind. I wanted to talk about the light spectrum and having a perception bigger than what we're used to, and it made me think about people who have things such as ADHD, what they call schizophrenia or dyslexia or whatever. So that triggered that thought.
This is wild. I'm gonna send brother Billy a screenshot, right?
Okay.
This came to me today. I let Billy kind of go over what it is. This is a person that was a student in my program.
Mhm.
And every now and then she's tapped in. She's tapped in energetically and spiritually to, you know, our loved ones that move on.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go ahead and read like the first or second paragraph, Brother Billy, if you got it.
Yeah, sure, definitely. It says, "Hi, Michael. I hope all is well. I have a message for you. Your mom has been with me since I've gotten up today. You were in my dream last night. She's showing me a storm cloud around your head and is trying to give you a yellow umbrella. It doesn't feel bad. It has the energy of sometimes it rains, sometimes it storms, but you don't have to stand and get wet. You can take the umbrella, and she's even opening it for you." Wow. Yeah.
Shit.
Today,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Today.
That's today. Yeah.
I haven't spoken to this student in months.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? The alignment is aligned.
So
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's aligning. The
The,
alignment.
the alignment is aligning.
Wow.
It ain't lying.
It ain't lying. It ain't lying.
Wow. Yeah, that's
This is
incredible.
look, this is beautiful though. This is wonderful. This is like, you know, and then like brother Rich, your people that's watching us in the chat, these are like some tapped in people, bro. So the more people are tapped into themselves, into God, right? You start to understand these things very, very clear, very clear. And the more you understand these things in reality and so on and so forth, anxiety falls off, you know, depression, like those things don't happen, you know, those things don't happen anymore because we have every answer that you need, you know where to go get it from. I know where to get every answer I need, you know?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
I got a couple of more questions for y'all. Let me just put something.
Can I say something real quick?
Indeed.
Someone said in your chat, they said it's still religion. If you're speaking about Islam, correct. We call it religion. Once again, these are words, right? But Islam is not really a religion. It's a posture. It's a posture. What is the posture? It's submission to God. Listen, every moral or ethical system that any atheist or anybody adheres to comes from a religion. Okay? People don't have to say I'm a this or that. Live a good life. That's enough. I promise you, that's enough. You know, you could be a pious person and think that God doesn't exist. That doesn't mean you don't make good decisions. You know, so I'm not big on forcing words on anybody. I just like to be precise with things, and there are some words that do invoke. Brother Billy was talking about manifestation. I like to say declaration. These words they're magic. It's not the magic in Hollywood, right? It's magic in the sense of we are speaking reality to from our mind, our subconscious mind to our conscious mind, out our lips to our friends, to ourselves, to our reality, right? These words are spells. You put letters together to spell a word, right? It's no magic wand. That's not it. They tell people that to think that there is no magic, but the magic is the words that we say and the actions that follow. You feel me? That's not magic. That's not you wanting a specific reality and making it happen. Look, I have a thing called Declaration of Truth that I do with my community. Well, everyone's do it on their own. So in December of each year, you write out next year, right? I wrote that I was going to find me a wife. I wrote that I was going to have 7% body fat. I wrote all these different things, right? Very vivid, very descriptive of the things that I desired. And the more descriptive, the bigger the target, right? They're all. God was like, I got you. It's literally written. It's written. You know, of course, you don't write it and just forget about it. You write it and you align your actions and your thoughts with the things that you wrote down. That's magic. That's a blueprint. When you build a house, Brother Billy got a mansion. They needed a blueprint to put that together. It ain't by, you know, I just really want a big house. No, they had to plan it and write it down. And from writing it down, you go and execute the plan. And it's easier like that, right? People don't want to write down or use words to form their lives, which is weird because your life should be the most important thing to you. What's more important in your day to day and every day and how you want to live and things of that nature? Very important. So we got to speak it and create it. Our actions have to follow our words, but our words are magical.
Indeed, indeed. I want to ask y'all about something real quick. You know, us talking about people in other realms, Mike telling us about his mother, you know, communicating with him through another person. You know, we hear about the law of correspondence and, you know, the heavens and the earth. Let me see something real quick. We hear about there's similarities. There's a lot of similarities when we go to other realms and when we what we experience within the human body. And if we just can make connections, we can make some major breakthroughs. And I was watching a Greg Braden video, and he was talking about fractals and patterns that repeat on different scales. And he showed lightning. And he showed lightning with electrical energy following a pathway in the atmosphere. You see the shape lightning took, and a neuron in your brain, which is electrical energy following a pathway in the brain. And you see the path it took. And it looks identical. It looks extremely identical.
Yeah.
And it made me think, and I'm thinking about the neurons, and I'm thinking about the brain, and I'm observing the cosmos as a universal brain, as if we're in a body of an entity, and the cosmos is a universal brain. And what we're seeing, that's a brain just like we have a miniature brain, but on a different scale. And it made me think about the concept of mirror neurons. And mirror neurons is a special class of brain cells that fire when the individual performs an action. Also, when the individual sees somebody else perform an action. Now, the best example I always use of this, Billy and Mike, is that people can relate to is Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant studied Michael Jordan for hours upon hours upon hours, thousands of hours of footage, to the point where now he has footage where he does the exact moves Michael did. I mean, to a T. Everything exactly. Now, that's a great example in our modern time that we could look in our pop culture that we could look at as mirror neurons. So I'm thinking about Billy, Mike, I'm thinking about when our people do like rain dances and rain making rituals, and they like do rain dances, or some people imitate thunder by drumming or burning wood, and or some people offer sacrifices to rain deities, and they called these acts sympathetic magic. And the belief was that you were mimicking a natural process to influence. So what I want to ask is that does mirror neurons explain how we are able to make it rain? Does mirror neurons explain how we are able to make it thunder? Because another brain is looking at another brain, but on a smaller scale, rain dancing or doing a sacrifice to make it rain. And that universal brain is like, shit, I'm a rain because I see somebody else making it rain down there in that realm. Does that explain, mirror neurons explain the process of what we call us controlling the weather?
Well, it goes back hundreds of thousands of years, just different indigenous tribes utilizing different rituals to control the weather, or to, bring the rain, to bless and create the strongest harvest, to overcome a drought, and all kind of other things. And so they found a way that they felt to get on a frequency or vibration. And by whatever ritual they were doing, that they would get on the frequency or the vibration, or like you say, Rich, the sound of whatever they needed, whatever geological assistance that they needed, or whatever kind of blessing that they needed. I believe that in some way, this technique, the further back you go, must have really worked, because if something isn't working, a culture will change it. They'll get rid of it. Especially you talking about going back thousands of years. A culture can't waste the resources of their entire civilization doing something that doesn't bring the result. If you're doing a rain dance and it doesn't rain at all, well then, and you do that for 100 years, eventually somebody's gonna be like, you know what, this ain't working, man. We gotta figure something else out. I think over time, the ritual, the knowledge, the real true knowledge or the vibration of that ritual kind of got lost. And that's when you see the sacrificing virgins and all this other kind of stuff that didn't really make any sense.
Right.
Pulling the hearts out of people's beating hearts out of their chest and so forth and so on.
Right.
But I do believe that the people who were the real ancients had the real wisdom and knowledge of how to create a specific type of vibration that literally energetically through the quantum field told the universe what they needed. And because the universe is a mirror, the universe brought it to them and sent it towards them. Because the universe, that law of attraction, it works on frequency and vibration. And they knew how to get on the right frequency. I'm talking about the ancients. You can even see this in biblical texts, the walls of Jericho, right? How did the walls of Jericho, they try to make it sound like this big miraculous thing and that God crushed the walls of Jericho. What it was a frequency and vibration. You know, if I take any object right now and put it on my desk right in front of this camera, and if I can get a speaker to send a resonant sound wave to match the vibration of the atoms in that object, it will shatter. And we know this is done because of the famous singer that used to break and shatter wine glasses with her voice. It gets this resonant frequency and they hit each other and then they cancel each other out. And then the matter breaks apart. It can't hold the shape anymore. And in some way, they might have been able to tap into this knowledge. They may have been taught this knowledge. They may have just instinctively had it within the DNA and did it. And they were getting results in the beginning. I believe they were getting good results. Further along, I mean, if you and I go outside right now and do a rain dance, we might get something, but the consistency of it might be off, right? I think they really knew what the hell they were doing back then. And then over time, just like anything else, you know, over time, the knowledge gets lost. If you look at ancient Egypt, the further back you go in time, the more megalithic the stones are, the more incredible the stone columns into the sky are. But then when you move forward in time towards our current era, and you only now maybe around 2000 BC, you can see that the columns are massive, but they're cut in big chunks and glued together. You can see that there are no more diorite, one-piece crystal diorite megalithic statues are all made in pieces or parts, or they're using softer stone. And so we can see that the knowledge of the ancients over time had degraded. I don't know necessarily if it's mirror neurons, but mirror neurons also then are something similar to operating within a vibration. And so that's actually one of the things I'll be teaching at the Manifest Destiny. I actually have an exercise that I'm going to do where I'm going to get people looking at each other, and we're going to do a mirror neuron thought experiment together at the Manifest Destiny. Yeah. So it's one of the things I'm working on actually this week. It's crazy you bring that up. It's on the top of my list as one of my interactive exercises.
It's the synchronicity, Billy. We're tuned into each other, bro.
Yes. It's wild. It's wild. I mean, it's wild. If I bring up my show list, my talking points, you'll see that's right at the top of the talking point list.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Mike, you got something to say on that question?
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept. I'm very familiar with mirror neurons.
Yeah.
Visualization is very scientifically and practically sound straight away. I'm not going to get into what I know because that's a whole nother show. However, the rain dancing is interesting, and philosophically they're aligned, right? Whether there is a meteorological effect, I don't know, but I do know this. Like when these indigenous people would participate in these ceremonies, these rain dancing ceremonies, it's when they was going through like crazy drought, you know?
Right.
So this was giving them a feeling of control, and that is very important, right? This giving them just a cultural bond, like, right? You know, it gives you, when you are powerless to certain things, and we are all pretty powerless to the universe. But when you are participating in things like this, especially collectively, right, you start to have a sense of agency, you know.
Mhm.
You don't feel so helpless, and that's very powerful, and that can help people get through to the next season, whatever that may be, you know.
Mhm.
It was very powerful. It was a very powerful social tool to keep these communities united and together and aligned, right? And for all intents and purposes, statistically, it's successful, right? Because these are cycles and seasons, right? The dry season will end, right? Whether it was the rain dancing or not, it's here, so it doesn't matter, right? As far as they're concerned, that's what it was. The dancing, great. It don't matter if it wasn't or not. It kept those people good and sane during those droughts, and then they got their rain. So we're good. You know, so Billy touched on something that I talk about often: resonant frequency, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Right. So I got to go back to Salat. So Salat, we're prescribed to pray 5 times a day at specific times of the day, right? So at any given moment or prescribed time of prayer, and within the allotted time, there's millions and millions and millions of people facing the same direction, saying the same words, right? So that resonant frequency is powerful, powerful, right? And the resonance is like, you know, the vibration of a sound. If it's really powerful and resonant, it don't have to be loud. It's going to go far, right? It's going to be more effective. And me and millions of people like me, we collectively put our head on the floor, same times, right? Saying the same things, seeking salvation, showing great humility to our Creator. Same time. That's powerful and it's special, bro. This is why you'll see people, you know, at the gas station praying, right? If it's time, leaving meetings to go pray. If it's time, I'm gonna tell you why this is good, right? It's good because it's so before prayer, you do what's called wudu, right? And that's a cleansing, right? On a practical and physiological level, you are electrically resetting yourself 5 times a day. When that water hits you, your face, your head, your mouth, right? And then you are to practice intention. So everything that you do, you have to be intentional about it. Your hands while you're washing, your head while you're washing your face, while you're cleaning your mouth out, right? So if I'm just going through motions, I gotta check myself and start over and think about why I'm washing my hand. Think about why I'm cleaning my mouth out. So nothing but truth can come out, right? So I'll pause when I'm about to say something negative, right? Why am I washing my head? But clean, pure thoughts, right? Why am I washing my face? To present myself for who I truly am. You feel me? Why am I washing my feet? So I can be I can be guided and walk in the right directions. So I literally do this 5 times a day, as well as a lot of other people. So this is why I say there is a objective truth when people have the same spiritual foundation, because we all agree to do this.
I'm gonna tell you something else that's interesting since
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about synchronicity. In preparing, it's funny, Mike. This is like, I mean, you gotta love the way the universe works, and when you experience it personally for yourself, family, you'll be like, this is like, you'll be like, wow. In preparing for the show, we're not just preparing for the show, but I said earlier, I'm heavy into the analog synthesizers right now, and I'm learning about sound. Like I'm learning about how sound is the foundation of all the shit that we see around us. And one of the books that I'm reading, this is a great book for anybody that wants to know what I'm talking about. It's Healing Sounds: The Power of Harmonics by Jonathan Goldman. And I just read earlier today, Mike. It's funny that you say this. No, yesterday. I want to be 1,000% honest. Not today, because we was about to have the show yesterday. I read it right before the show yesterday, Mike, about how they were saying how the Sufis are esoteric branch of Islam. And the author points out that the name Allah, and Mike's saying all this stuff about Islam. The author points out that Allah is just an elongation of the long vowel sound of A, of Ah, that activates the heart. So he was talking about how the Muslim prayer activates the hearts. And this is by a white dude, Jonathan Coleman, in the Healing Sounds. And then here comes Mike the next day telling us all this stuff about Allah and Muslim prayer. Like, listen, you cannot make this up.
Brother Rich.
You cannot make this up.
Brother Rich, so check this out.
Jesus Christ.
I see that 832 hertz. Listen,
man, oh man.
These things like that, right? These discoveries, they're in the Holy Quran. Like it's so many things. It's so, Brother Rich, I'm getting to know you and I really dig your energy, but I know Billy to a degree, and we're both very like, I need evidence, right? So when I was younger, I was like, I got questions. I don't know. But I was, shrouded in ignorance and ego. And I'm asking other people. I stopped asking people and I started looking for myself for answers. I need evidence. I need practical. This got to make sense to me. And in Islam, everything makes sense. It's all there. The sounds, how sounds heal. So Al-Fatiha, which is the first the first surah of the Holy Quran, and it's something that we recite with every prayer.
Right.
It's a healing prayer, right? So the Prophet, peace be upon him, would say it over people, and it would heal. It'll heal your heart, right? It heals your body. Sound is prescribed as medicine, right? Doctors are now prescribing people with neurological diseases with sound. You feel me? There's chairs like this with certain sounds and frequencies that's healing the body. I'm gonna put one in the chat, right? This is one that I made, right? And it's just a short recitation. If anybody listen to it, it is healing. You don't have to know what the words say. The frequency that is emitting is healing, but the words happen to be beautiful, right? And it's being spoken and it sounds like it's being sung, but it's a frequency that just feels good. If it feels good, it's probably good for you, right? You can't remember I said energetic energy, you feel it. You know what I'm saying? You don't always feel people's words. Sometimes you do. But this is something that you actually feel, and it heals the heart and the mind. It's incredible. I'm gonna share it in the chat right here.
Yeah,
you know, y'all can save it.
Yeah.
But listen, all of this stuff is literally nothing new under the sun, right? Did I close out the thing? Y'all there?
Yeah.
I lost my phone.
No, you see me? Yeah.
We see you.
Yeah.
I don't see y'all. Let me find you.
Peace.
All right, let me close. Yo, my computer's a mess. I ain't gonna lie. All right, wait. Let's see.
It's all good. Yeah, and Billy, I know you had a show before this. I got one more question, and then we're gonna get out of here, Billy.
Yeah. I'm going to the airport in a couple hours.
Yeah, I know. I'm
going to California. I'm gonna be over there on Mike's side of the world in a minute.
Sure. You get here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, I can hear y'all. I can't see you though. I can see you on YouTube.
Oh man, I wonder why. Yeah,
but it's a little lagged on YouTube, but it's all good.
I could definitely see you. But one more question. Let me ask this last question, and I'm gonna, one of the things I'm gonna continue to reiterate is, just like the book, The Healing Sounds, and they talked about the and the Allah, and the book also stresses the vowels and how important the vowels are in healing. And our body is 85% water or whatever. I don't know the exact percentage. And we all seen the experiments by Dr. Emoto and speaking to the water. This how sound influences the water, whether it's crystal or whether it looks completely disfigured or whatever. And I want to ask you something in our society that's quite interesting. When we're at our weakest point, I know Billy got sick, I believe it was last year. We're walking around in this vessel, in this avatar that's majority water. And when we're at this weakest point, if sound creates light and light creates matter, a vehicle comes to pick us up, making the most dissonant sound ever, an ambulance. And it's like modulating between two pitches, and it sounds absolutely horrendous to the human ear, to the point that it gets everybody's attention when it passes by, because the sound is just it's like you just want to cover your ears. And I lived in New York City, and a lot of people do that sometimes. When the ambulance or the police come out, the people are like, oh God, it's so loud, and it's so, it like really bothers your interior. So I want to ask you, do you think that the ambulances, and I want us to really investigate how much sound influences our avatar, Billy and Mike? Do you think the avatars and the state that we're already in when we're injured, do you think that further injures or further hurts us, further harms us when we get in an ambulance and we have to ride listening to that sound for 45, 30 or whatever minutes?
Oh yeah, well, that sound definitely has an instantaneous effect on the body. I mean, you touched on it lightly about the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto.
Yeah.
And I was blessed. Unfortunately, he passed away, but I was blessed the year after he died to work with his understudy. And she came over from Asia, and she was at the Conscious Life Expo. This is back in 2017. And I was able to sit with her and talk with her and go through a couple of her classes and with frequency and vibration and harmonics and all of that. And some of the stuff that she taught him. That's where I understood. It was through her that I learned that sound is actually light. And that's, and then just 4 years ago now, scientists in a laboratory for the very first time took a photon and a cymatic vibration and combined them together to manifest solid matter. So they made a few molecules of actual real physical matter from light waves and sound. And so this is just incredible that they were able to do that, because that was talked about in the Emerald Tablets. Thoth says he was able to use cymatic vibrations and the light to manifest stone. So what he said 36,000 years ago is now modern scientists just finally were able to actually do it in a laboratory. But we know that the human body is made up about 70% or more of water. And we know that what the effect of frequency and sound has on water, based on those experiments with Dr. Masaru Emoto. We know that the frequencies that are coming at us all the time on a consistent basis, if they're out of alignment with the human body, with harmony and Schumann resonance, they can have an adverse effect. So scientists were doing some studies on different frequencies and vibrations on different sounds and sound waves, different hertz. And so they were going up the hertz list on individual people in this study, and they would give them a test or a quiz afterwards. Now, they had no time to really prepare for this quiz, so they couldn't pre-think and memorize the answers, but they were hitting them with these different frequencies and seeing how they would actually do on these tests. And what they found was there are certain hertz frequencies that have such an adverse effect, not only on the body, even on the mind. They almost disorganize the brain waves. And so when the person would go to take the test right after getting hit with those frequencies, they did horrible on those tests, on those quizzes.
Wow.
But then there were also resonant frequencies that they would hit them with that actually improved their ability higher than normal, higher than average. In other words, if it wasn't for the frequency, they wouldn't even score that high. The frequency gave them more knowledge. It gave them access to more understanding, gave them access to their memory, gave them access to data processing, and so they were able to even do better and excel higher than it would, because they had a base study for the test. In other words, they did it with no frequency. So when they did the base study with the test, I think they had them take the test 3 times with no frequencies at all. Now they had a base. They understood where the person's IQ and knowledge level was. Then they started hitting them with the frequencies, and then they were able to tell were they higher or lower than their base average, right? And with classical music, 432 hertz, 528 hertz, 936 hertz, those were the most successful frequencies for increasing a person's IQ and increasing their ability to score even higher on the same test that they just took a couple of days before, that they would no sound and they got lower on, or they looked at the other 440 hertz and down and some of the more detrimental frequencies, and they saw that it completely took them out of their focus. They almost were showing ADHD type symptoms. People just started guessing at the answers. It was horrible. And so if we just taken that to look at what it's doing to the mind, imagine what it's doing to each individual cell in the body. Wow. It's creating these non-harmonic vibrations, which creates dis-ease. And when you begin to get dis-ease in the body for an extended period of time, dis-ease becomes disease, and then you'll be pushing up daisies. You'll be 6 feet under.
Yo, that's dope.
Mike, you want to close that out? You want to close that out first, Mike?
Man, how you gonna put me after Billy?
No,
No, but listen, I gotta say this. I shared that link to Al Fatiha and I recommend everybody just listen to it, right? And if you don't like it, don't listen to it again. But I think you're gonna find something because this is what it does. It is a healing prayer, right? Especially when recited beautifully. So it lowers your blood pressure, right? It calms your nervous system. So that is a natural reduction in anxiety, right? So I'll play it, just have it in my pocket when I'm moving around, walking around, whatever, doing what I'm doing. It keeps me so level and so calm and so peaceful. And then if somebody hear it, they're like, yo, what is that? I promise you, wallahi. So this is reducing inflammation. Right. This is this ancient prayer, right? So 100%. There are other sounds, a cacophony of sounds that's not in alignment that are chaotic. It sounds chaotic and it sounds confusing, you know? There's other sounds that's put together that put you in a war mentality, right? And that has everything has a purpose and a time, you know? I find myself listening to what I just shared to y'all in the chat all the time, right? Because it just puts me in a good space. And yet it affects you. You know what else does too?
What?
Cats. Cats have a look, I'm mimicking cats. The cats will purr themselves if they're like in distress or something, if they hurt themselves, because it heals like bone density and stuff like that. And they'll come up on one of us and lay on us and do the same thing. They're just showing love, like that sound. They have a certain sound that's healing. So I'm walking around with Fatiha playing. It's keeping me so good. And listen, I need that because I could be wound up. You know what I'm saying? I can be wound up, but these days I'm not. I'll use everything that I can as a cheat code to keep me in that proper vibration, that good space and that good energy. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, I can be a menace. You know what I'm saying? I could be a very destructive person. But these kind of things, ideations, and it's so far removed from me nowadays. And I use all these little medicines, right? Sounds or whatever to keep me in that space and keep me healthy. So I highly recommend it, y'all. And sound that's everything. That's a lot. You know, we should be very thankful that we have those of us who do have the ability to hear that we can. It's so beautiful. Yeah. It's so beautiful to be able to hear these wonderful things. Okay. So we should though make sure that we're being masters of the information that we're taking in and listening to good stuff. Get off of social for a little bit, right? Stop paying attention to the politics in the news. We got lives to live. Can't be invested in all of that stuff over there. Ain't got nothing to do with you, you know? So hey, yo, y'all got Brother Rich right here. Yo, I love what you're doing, brother. I need to tap in a little bit more. We need to do this more often.
Indeed. You know at least once a month, Mike. At least once a month.
I'm with it, bro. Yeah. Me and Billy too. Me and Billy be long-winded. We be going. But I like how you did the other day. You capped it at an hour. I was like, all right, because we be going. You know
Mike, did you post the link in the chat? They're saying they don't see it, and they asking me, Rich, where the link at?
I'm doing it right here on the stream.
I saw it. Just post it one more time. I just saw it go through there, Mike. But the chat's going so fast they missed it. Just post it one more time in the live chat.
Okay, yeah, they start blaming me immediately. They like,
yeah, because I didn't know if I need to go to YouTube and post it.
No, it's there. I see it. Okay. They got it.
In the private chat, Mike. In the.
Excuse me.
Do you know how to?
Yes, sir. Doing it right now.
Because if I put it, then they could click right on the link.
Okay.
You let them click it, brother. You put it.
Okay, gotcha. All right,
Brother Rich, you coming out this weekend?
I wish I could. I really do.
Where you located, sir?
I'm in New York. No, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm in Georgia right now. I'm in Georgia.
Okay. All right.
I'm in Georgia. But
yeah, I got it. I like y'all real estate prices out there, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I've been looking around the country, the nation. Oh, yeah? So you know, yeah. Awesome. I'm house shopping, brother Billy.
Hey man.
You know?
I hear you, brother. I hear you. It's time. It's time. Yeah. I do want to mention the food app real quick, Rich, before I go.
Yes, sir.
So as we know, we have the SNAP EBT issue going on right now in America.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are going to be in a very bad situation coming up on this holiday season. Coming from a person myself that went through several holidays, and whether you celebrate them or not, it doesn't matter. It's a time for me. It was always a time to get with family, to see some family that I hadn't seen in a while. If we did have the opportunity to go to travel, I knew I would get a great meal. And sometimes staying at home meant I probably wouldn't get a great meal. And there had been several times over the winter season where I didn't forget about the turkey. I didn't even have anything. My dad would go to the grocery store, Winn-Dixie, and he would take the canned food, and he would bang it on the side of the shelf to get it dented, because once it got dented, then he can get it for like 10, 15 cents a can. And then he would come home with like 6 or 7 cans of dented corn or green beans, cans of cranberry, which we know it ain't real cranberry. Now, back then I didn't know the difference. So, and some bags of bread so that my mom could make some stuffing and in the cranberry, and we would have dented cans of food, take it out of the can and eat it. But I know what it's like to be a kid. 1 in 4 children in America are on SNAP EBT. 1 in 4. Now, there's 390 million Americans. Out of that, only 190 million are adults. The rest of those are children under the age of 17 and down, right? And so it's our duty as people to stand up for these kids, regardless of what race, color, and creed they are. We know that the media paints a negative picture about Black people and Latino people on the news. I've seen those news feeds where they're blaming the EBT, SNAP EBT crisis on minorities and saying that we're abusing them and we're buying hair weave. I've seen a news guy say we're buying hair weave and nails and all this food. That's propaganda. It's trash and it's garbage. On my last podcast, I did the stats. Number 1 on the list for receiving SNAP EBT benefits are Caucasians at 35%. Minorities are African American, if you want to call us that. We only make up 13.5% of the population, and we then take up 25% of that 13.5%. And then documented Latinos make up only 6% on SNAP EBT. And there are no undocumented people on SNAP EBT simply because it's against the law. Nobody undocumented is allowed to even qualify. So there are no undocumented people coming here getting on that. And then the other percentages are made up of smaller and smaller percentages of different races. And so I'm just setting the tone and setting the story correct. The correct story is it's not what you see on the media. But the important thing outside of that is we need to support our brothers and sisters, no matter who they are. And so I created a free app. It's called Food Bank Finder.ai. Food, maybe King Simon can drop that in the live chat. https://foodbankfinder.ai. It's a free app. It doesn't cost any money. It's already helped deliver thousands of meals and thousands of drop-offs of food to food banks. And why did I create the app? Because I went on Google and I looked up a couple of food banks a while ago, and I wasted a whole day driving around the food banks that couldn't help me. I found a food bank. I went there. They don't take the food. They only take food from a certain location. I went to another food bank. They will take the food, but they only serve the elderly. I'm like, what about the younger people that can't do it? I left there, went to another food bank where they only serve people that have a certain kind of ID and the proof that they have the SNAP EBT. I'm like, well, damn, what if they don't have that? I just want people to come in and get food. So I created this app that curates all the content, all the data. It uses the AI mechanism to search. It's better than Google. It then, based on your zip code location, will give you everything you need within your area, within the range of your ability to drive or get out to based on your zip code, city, state. And then it will allow you to communicate directly with those centers and find out which one's best suited for exactly who you want to serve with the food that you want to donate. Some of them you can even contact them and ask them if they can take an Amazon grocery delivery drop off or that a la carte or whatever the name of that cart, Instacart drop off. Some will take them, some won't. And so it really saves a lot of time. It saves driving around. It saves countless hours. It doesn't cost any money. And I just put it out not too long ago, and it's already got thousands of users. I'm getting ready to get interviewed on, I think it's NBC News in Chicago. And then also now the very first restaurant has been put on here. So a restaurant volunteered to be on the app, and they're going to be giving $1,200 a day in meals, cooked meals to people. And now more restaurants will also follow suit. It's up to us to feed America. Screw these poly tricksters. Screw these clowns out here that are running around building multi-million-dollar dance halls and all this crazy shit. It's time for us to take care of us, period, point blank. If we don't take care of us, nobody else will. And I think one of the biggest middle fingers we can put up to the establishment is you can do whatever you want to do to hurt us, but you can't stop us. We will take care of each other, and we will make sure each one of us is okay. And we damn sure going to make sure these kids got food this winter. And so I think it's it's something that everybody can get involved in, even if you can only take something out of your cupboard and donate it. Anything, any little bit you can do actually helps. And I want people all over the country going out, which they've already started, and filling up these food banks so that people can go get some damn food.
It's beautiful, that, Billy. Yeah, yeah.
Yo, I'm sharing. Yo, this is dope, Billy. This is dope.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah,
so
we got to bring the solutions.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Billy got passionate on us real quick. and it's past the 2-hour mark. So, Billy really, if he got passionate now, he really mean it. So, yeah, shit, man. Okay, man. I hear you, man.
I've been hungry, man. I shouldn't even be 6'4". I don't know how the hell I grew this height. I had no nutrition growing up. Can you imagine if I had real nutrition, if I had real food to eat, I'd probably be 6'7" or up. I just didn't have any food, and those days being hungry, man, it's like, man, you just something you never forget. I remember getting some donations from the local church and, a few bags of bread, some Cairo syrup, and a bag, some things of bologna and, just whatever, man. But you know what? Powdered milk and powdered eggs. I don't know if you ever had to eat powdered eggs. But you know what? When you're hungry, man, you'll eat anything, dog. You'll eat it, and you'll be happy for it too. So, I mean, that's why every year I do $15,000 in donations to single parent, homes that are on a final notice electric bill. And I do a grant to them directly from me. Every year I do $15,000 in the winter. So this January starts again. I'll be helping people pay off their final notice electric bills again. I can't pay everybody's bills, but up to $15K is my budget because I know what it's like to be cold in the winter and not have any heat because there's no electricity, And so when we go through these things in life, it's only for us to experience them so that we can get to a position where we make ourselves so strong that we can now reach back and help other people in the same situation so they don't feel so helpless like I felt.
Indeed. No, that's magnificent, man. Yeah. You've been a solid dude since I met you, man. And I want to thank you and Mike for coming on the show. It's been an absolutely brilliant, heartfelt, intellectual, spiritual show tonight. I wish Robert could have joined us. Hopefully I could get Robert on the channel sometime soon. But amazing show nonetheless. We done went 2.5 hours on here tonight, Billy. And I know Billy's a busy man. So getting Billy for 2.5 hours, that's special. But I want Mike, Billy, leave your contact information so the family could get in touch with y'all.
Well, yeah, you already know, Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4. I'd love for everyone. I have some students from the academy here, some of my incredible leaders in the live chat. So if you can go to the 4BK, the number 4, 4BKacademy.com, have a look around in there and see if it's something for you. It's just in there teaching a lot of classes, over 120 hours now of incredible teaching and courses inside the academy. And then I mentor Tuesday nights, and I bring on billionaires and millionaires. Not that the money matters, it's the mindset that they've got to overcome being impoverished. Both of them came from -0. The woman I had on last week, she used to clean toilets, and now she earns 100 million plus a year. And so what type of perseverance does it take to go from cleaning somebody's toilets to rising all the way up and building a legacy for your family? Those are the kind of things we need to acknowledge and learn, because we weren't taught these things in our generation, in our lineage. Most of us weren't taught these things. And so you got to hear it coming from people who've actually done it And so the proof is in the pudding. So again, the 4bkacademy.com.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, I am just not on social a lot these days. I built a space where it's not all toxic, and it ain't mine. It's everybody that's involved. I do a lecture every Thursday. I would love for y'all to hop in. Billy blessed me one time. That was dope. They love that, Billy. Thank you for that. So I'll put the link in here. Everybody that comes can get a free pass for tomorrow. It's every Thursday when I lecture, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be like, oh, it wouldn't let me put it in here. Here, I'll put it in a private chat. You can share it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this link right here will give you a free setup for tomorrow. There's a lot of resources in there. I'm not trying to promote it, but we have good talks, dope bills on Thursdays. And tomorrow we're talking about the archetype of the beast and the master. Okay. This is a duality that all men walk with, but it gives you an opportunity to identify where you really align at and where you should align at, a real direct pathway. So it's going to be a dope bill. We be going in. It'd be fire. So
Yeah, it's
I
nice.
would love for y'all to participate, pop in.
Indeed. Yeah. And I'm definitely appreciative, Mike, Billy. Mike, I seen you. I'm gonna lock you in, Mike. I got your contact info.
Yes, sir.
I want to collab with you definitely in the near future, and I got some ideas that I want to run by you, Mike. So
Yes, sir.
keep up the good work with what you're doing, Billy. Keep up the good work with what you're doing, my brother. Much success to y'all with the event that you are having. Hold up, before we get out of here. November 8th, Awaken the God Within in Los Angeles. Y'all could go to Manifest Destiny 2025 if you in the area and see Billy Carson, Robert Edward Grant, and Mike Rashid King live in LA. That's going to be fire, family. Yeah. So much success to y'all with that. And with that being said, I'm going to talk to y'all soon. Everybody have a good night.
Peace.
Peace, Billy. All right, family. I'm going to be back on tomorrow. Wayne Chandler hasn't been on here in a while. That's the OG. If you don't know who Wayne Chandler is the OG who has the book Ancient Future. And before internet, YouTube, MySpace, all that, Wayne Chandler was out here popping, doing his thing. With Bobby Hemmett and all them. He's in that Bobby Hemmett era. Wayne Chandler was doing his thing. So make sure y'all tune in tomorrow at 9 o'clock for Wayne Chandler. And I got a big show on Friday. So we're gonna I missed a couple of days. We had an absolutely magnificent workshop, the AI workshop. Make sure all of y'all, I'm gonna have information on how to purchase the replay real soon, probably tomorrow. I gotta talk to Seven and Red, but probably tomorrow, we'll all have the workshop available on our sites. Just getting things together. One thing I want to say, shout out to everybody who was there present at the workshop. Shout out to all of y'all. Brilliant show tonight, right? Brilliant show tonight. I'm thankful. Oh man, I really wish Robert Edward Grant could have made it. I had a lot more questions I wanted to get into. But damn, we went past 2 hours and 30 minutes. I didn't think we was gonna go this long. Shit. Wow. Amazing. But brilliant show by with Billy and Mike Rashid King. One thing I seen in the chat. Shout out to everybody who left the super chat. Somebody wanted to know, can we still get the cigars? I want to show you a video. Somebody thought I was BSing. Somebody thought I was BSing when I said the cigars. Let me show y'all a video, a 10-second video of the cigars, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Somebody thought I was BSing. And when the family who got their cigars in the mail, they're like, yeah, Rich, I really see the crystals. Like, I really need y'all to know this is some real deal stuff here. All right, I just posted the link. People who share a link of people who share a donation of 30 or more, I'm sending out a cigar. Amazing cigar, straight from Honduras, and it's unlike anything in the world. Let me show you something with these cigars from Honduras. They're called radio cigars. Let me show you something real quick. Hold up. This is a cigar. All right, so let me show you something real quick. Do y'all see the crystals on them? Ah, man, y'all may not. I don't know if y'all can see it on this camera. Something about that. Damn. I don't think y'all can see it. The way this. Damn, y'all can't see it on. Do y'all see it? I don't see it when I share it. I see it. When I'm looking at it on my desktop, but I don't see it when I share it. But listen, you saw the crystals? Man, listen. There's nothing. These are something spectacular. These are something dark in the shot. Look overexposed. Yeah. It definitely. And I don't know why. It didn't look like that on my desktop. It must be a setting with StreamYard, because it didn't look over exposed when I looked at it on my desktop. But yeah, it's man, these cigars are, man, like Rod said, the ability they have to make you think and focus is unheard of. It's unlike anything I've ever. Somebody said the cigar got THC crystals on it. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm gonna share the link one more time. If you want to get in touch with the radio cigars, you can click on that link and and get you something. But it's amazing. But listen, tomorrow Wayne Chandler will be on live. It's 9:00. Then Friday I got another show, and I'm working that out. So yeah, we'll figure that out. But been on here a long time. I want to thank everybody who stayed the whole it's almost 3 hours. Thank all of you who stayed almost the whole 3 hours. With that being said, everybody, I think tonight's is a full moon too, right? Tonight's a full moon, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's organic tobacco. 100% organic. Somebody said it's organic tobacco. Yeah, 100% organic tobacco. 100%. It's like I said, it's just I've never ever experienced something like it before, especially when it comes to doing rituals and tapping in and getting answers. You're getting the answers from the quantum field. I mean, this is just the tobacco. I can see why ancestors were into tobacco so much. I can see. But yeah, it's a full moon tonight. Do what y'all got to do. I'm getting out of here. Everybody have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, 9:00 Eastern time with Wayne Chandler. Peace and blessings, y'all. All right.